Imagine having to choose between an arranged marriage and the guy who actually gives you butterflies. JJ is the ultimate drama magnet in a school full of trust fund babies. Between the insane luxury, backstabbing, and a classic fireworks kiss, her life is about to completely explode. Let's dive into this chaotic story. The drama starts with JJ, a high schooler standing in front of the massive gates of her new school like she's entering a royal palace. The second she steps inside, she realizes every single student looks like a billionaire in training, serving "I eat gold for breakfast and diamonds for lunch" energy. She's absolutely hyped because the place looks majestic, shiny, and way more luxurious than a five-star hotel. She promises herself that this is the start of a brand new life and that she will absolutely not cause a scene. It's quickly revealed that JJ was transferred because at her old school, her reputation was unhinged. She was the undisputed queen of trouble, always getting into fights and drama. She walks through the massive hallways to the reception desk to ask for the exact location of Section E, her assigned class. While waiting for an answer, she notices another student giving her major side-eye with total cringe written all over her face. And though she wonders why the girl is being such a hater, she decides to ignore it. Following the receptionist's directions, she arrives at the spot and her jaw literally drops. The Section E building is ancient, completely neglected, and looks more like an abandoned warehouse than an actual school. She tries to convince herself that inner beauty is what matters, but walking inside, she discovers it's messier than a house party after hours. She heads down the hallway until she bumps into a group of guys. She politely asks them if this is Section E, and one of them, Kiefer, tells her she's in the wrong place. JJ insists the receptionist sent her here, but Kiefer, possessing zero patience, orders her to get lost. She walks away frustrated, thinking about how much she wants to punch him straight in the face, but she restrains herself and takes a deep breath. She heads over to another building that actually looks clean and organized. She enters a classroom and takes a seat at an empty desk. A moment later, Raki, the class president, approaches her with actual kindness and introduces herself. JJ does the same, explaining she's the new girl. Raki checks her file and discovers that JJ actually belongs in a completely different class, specifically Section E. She gives her the right directions, and in that exact second, JJ realizes Kiefer lied straight to her face. Furious, she marches back to Section E and finds out there's only one classroom and it's entirely filled with guys. Even so, she refuses to let them ruin her main character energy. She introduces herself to the teacher and her new classmates. Kiefer, acting like the typical toxic leader, is supposed to welcome her, but instead, he humiliates her in front of everyone, making the whole class burst out laughing. JJ isn't about to play the victim, so she claps back with pure sarcasm, protecting her pride. Right then and there, her new classmates start targeting her with endless red flags. Every time she tries to sit down, they literally block her seat. When she finally manages to find a spot, they start throwing paper balls at her while laughing like it's a comedy show, giving pure cringe. She screams at them to stop, but everyone completely ignores her. This unhinged treatment continues until class ends, and JJ leaves the room serving major side-eye. She heads to the cafeteria where she bumps into Raki, who is sitting with a group of girls. Raki asks how it went in Section E, but JJ decides to hide the truth and claims everyone welcomed her with hugs and smiles. The girls give her a total "yeah, right" look because they know Section E is the capital of red flags and expert-level pranks. Right then, Aries drops a total bomb saying Section E is perfect for JJ. So obvious they know each other, but JJ goes completely mute and leaves the cafeteria straight back to Section E. Once there, she looks for a clean corner to eat, but the second she pulls out her food, the guys swarm her like literal piranhas. Felix, one of the boys, approaches her to apologize and warns her to never pull out food in front of them, because Section E is banned from entering or buying anything at the cafeteria. JJ is shocked, but being stubborn, she pulls even more food out of her backpack. Felix snatches it instantly, reminds her of his warning, and walks away completely unfazed. Later in the classroom, a teacher walks in and immediately refuses to give the lesson because the place looks like a literal dumpster. She tells them seriously that if she finds the classroom this dirty next time, she won't teach them anything for the rest of the year. She leaves, and JJ, serving main character energy, tries to motivate her classmates to clean up, but they, with ultimate audacity, just walk out and lock her inside, leaving her alone with the disaster. She screams at them to help, but they just laugh through the window like it's a reality show. Left with no choice, JJ cleans the whole place while boiling with rage. At the end of her first day, she returns home where she lives with her uncle's wife. Her aunt asks how it went, and JJ, putting on a fake smile, says it was a wonderful day. Her aunt reminds her of the promise she made, and JJ assures her she hasn't forgotten. She won't cause trouble with anyone. The next day, Kiefer hands her a paper with a list of food items he and the guys want, ordering her to buy them from the cafeteria. JJ refuses and tells him she isn't his maid. Kiefer snaps back that he doesn't want her in his class anyway, and if she wants to stay, she needs to obey. JJ loses her mind, tells him she won't obey, and confesses that from the very first moment she saw him, she wanted to punch him. Kiefer turns red with rage and is about to start a massive fight, but the teacher walks in right then and interrupts them. Lunchtime, Yuri appears, and all the guys run toward him because he brought food to distribute. But when Yuri sees JJ, his face drops and he gets visibly annoyed. Felix explains that she's new to the class. Yuri glares at her with pure hatred and leaves without saying a word, leaving JJ completely confused. She asks Felix who he is, and he explains that Yuri was on vacation in Japan with his family and just got back. Plus, he's best friends with Kiefer. Meanwhile, Yuri vents to Kiefer about JJ, making it crystal clear that he does not want a girl invading their territory. Kiefer explains that he already tried giving her the classic toxic male scare tactics to force a self-eviction, but she didn't even flinch. Yuri proposes they just double down on the unhinged harassment until she breaks and packs her bags, and Kiefer agrees, serving absolute low-budget villain face. The next morning, JJ scarfs down breakfast like she's fueling up for battle. The table, she runs into Angelo, her older cousin, who asks how school is going. She assures him everything is flawless and then asks if he knows anything about the infamous Section E, since he's an alumnus of that circus. Angelo explains that the section was literally customized for chronic troublemakers, and once you're in that trap, you are stuck until graduation. But he drops a little cheat code, mentioning that girls actually have a slim chance to escape if they activate their plot armor, stay out of drama, and get flawless grades like textbook overachievers. After absorbing this lore, JJ leaves the house only to stumble upon a guy casually fighting 3 dudes at the same time, defeating them like he's playing an arcade game. Spotting her, the guy shouts that they're classmates and proposes walking to school together. JJ agrees, and on the way, she discovers his name is Cien. Low-key nosy, she asks him why Section E is banned from the cafeteria. Cien tells her he'll spill the tea only if she buys him food. JJ, desperate for the gossip, agrees. Cien explains that there used to be a girl named Ella in their section, and she and Kiefer were giving major slow-burn romance energy. But Ella transferred to another section because she had connections in the front office. After that, Kiefer felt like her whole vibe changed overnight for zero reason. One day, he caught her in the cafeteria kissing another guy, and fueled by pure cringe rage, he started a massive brawl and completely demolished the cafeteria like a literal earthquake. Ever since, the administration punished Kiefer and the entire Section E by banning them for life. After the story time, Cien and JJ arrive at school and survive the day, until the end of the last period when JJ realizes her clothes are literally superglued to her desk. Turns out Kiefer and Yuri were the masterminds behind this Delulu prank, and the whole class starts laughing like it's a standard sitcom. JJ, completely insulted, calls out Cien and Felix, reminding them that she consistently feeds them and they cannot just leave her stranded in this peak cringe humiliation. Feeling the guilt, they help detach her, but in the process, her uniform rips. Cien quickly tosses her his jacket to cover up. Furious and embarrassed, JJ storms off to hunt down Kiefer and finds him chilling with Yuri and the entourage. She throws Cien's jacket straight into his face and, in front of the whole crowd, declares that from this moment on, she is done staying quiet through his little red flags. She then struts away, serving absolute main character energy like a true dramatic heroine. On the way home, Cien walks with her and pulls another jacket from his backpack so she can hide the ripped clothes. She offers a rare, genuine thank you before heading inside. The second he walks away, Cien runs into the exact same thugs he beat up earlier, and they are back looking for vengeance. Back home, JJ sits down for dinner, only to find Aries sitting right there. Turns out he's her brother, and he utterly loathes sharing a roof with her. Angelo clocks the toxic tension and gets visibly annoyed by the whole scene, especially after discovering Aries refuses to give her a ride to school. He drops a firm reality check, ordering Aries that starting tomorrow, he must drive JJ to school and ensure she arrives safe and sound. The next morning, Aries complies with Angelo's orders and drives JJ to school. The literal second she steps into the classroom, Kiefer pulls out the exact same list of food and even shoves money at her, expecting her to play maid for him and his entourage. JJ completely explodes and tells him she isn't obligated to do anything for him, stating she will only buy food for her actual friends, not a walking red flag like him. But despite the main character energy she tried to serve, she still walks to the cafeteria and buys every single thing Kiefer requested. When she gets back, the guys get hyped like she just brought delicacies from another planet, and even Kiefer cracks a smile. Felix invites her to eat with them, and JJ is suddenly happier than ever. She sits with the group, though Yuri immediately serves pure hater energy and storms off furious. Later during class, the teacher starts calling names to check their academic levels. The guys remain completely mute, proving that studying is definitely not their brand. Suddenly, the teacher calls out JJ's full name, revealing she shares the exact same last name as Aries. Kiefer, getting nosy, asks what her connection is, and she calmly responds that he's her brother. In that exact second, the entire vibe freezes. All her classmates look dead serious and incredibly pissed. JJ notices there's some major unhinged beef between them and Aries, but she has zero clues as to what it is. After class, she tries to chat with the guys, but everyone avoids her like she's the plague. Meanwhile, Kiefer and Yuri assemble the squad and start internet stalking JJ's past. They discover the name of her old school and that her reputation was iconic for being a massive troublemaker, basically a criminal mastermind of high school drama. They even find out she once stabbed a classmate with a pencil and inflicted serious injuries on several students. Right then, another classmate runs in, dropping more lore about JJ's family. Her father has been missing for ages with zero leads, and her mom literally abandoned her as a child to marry someone else and start a new life. JJ had been living with her grandmother all those years, but upon starting at this school, she moved in with her uncle's family. Yuri and Kiefer immediately get Delulu and start suspecting that Aries planted her in Section E to spy on them and report back. When it's time to clean the classroom, the guys do what they do best and ditch her. Kiefer, aiming for peak cringe behavior, flips over the trash cans and throws garbage all over the floor. JJ, completely fed up, claps back by throwing piles of paper right back, declaring she won't clean a single thing unless he helps. Seeing that the situation is turning sour and that Kiefer might lose his mind, Yuri steps in and convinces him to just clean with her to avoid any real plot armor disasters. Kiefer calms down, listens to Yuri, and actually ends up helping JJ organize the room. The next day, JJ is in the car with Aries heading to school, but she suddenly spots Cien walking down the street. She orders Aries to pull over because she wants to walk with her buddy. Strolling next to Cien, she asks why he ghosted class yesterday. Cien explains he got dragged into another brawl with the entourage of the guys he beat up before, but this time it was way more serious and left him with a bad injury, so he stayed home to rest. JJ fills him in on the classroom drama, and how everyone reacted like she had the plague upon discovering she's Aries' sister. She asks if he's also planning to give her the cold shoulder. Cien gives her a reality check and promises he won't, telling her she has zero reasons to worry. JJ continues her journey to school with Cien, and later he drags her behind one of the buildings to witness the class president elections. But her jaw drops when she discovers there are no voting ballots or cringe speeches, just a brutal, unhinged fistfight between the current president, Kiefer, and David, the guy challenging him for the crown. The winner takes the title. The fight kicks off, and both of them throw down with an intensity straight out of a wrestling pay-per-view. It's a hardcore match, but Kiefer ultimately wins, and the students celebrate by carrying him on their shoulders like a world champion. JJ doesn't just bounce. She approaches David and helps him get home. The following day, JJ brings food for Cien and David. Meanwhile, Yuri and Kiefer watch her, serving major hater energy. It's obvious JJ is starting to build rapport with the guys and they're treating her better, which triggers Kiefer and Yuri because they refuse to let her get comfortable in their territory. Right then, a classmate alerts them that the next period is PE and they need to head to the gym. At the same time, Aries is chatting with his friend Kiko, who mentions Section E is heading to the gym. Mid-conversation, Ella spawns and greets Aries, making it crystal clear they are giving major romantic partner energy. Aries decides to hit the gym under the pretext of protecting JJ, acting like a personal bodyguard to ensure no one messes with her. But upon arrival, Aries starts acting all affectionate with Ella, explicitly aiming to trigger Kiefer. The toxic plot works. Kiefer loses his mind and, desperate to vent his rage, redirects his red flag straight toward JJ, faking that he's teaching her how to catch. He hurls the ball with so much force it hits her dead in the face, knocking her to the ground with a bloody nose. The entire gym completely freezes. Kiefer realizes his massive error and wants to apologize, but goes mute when he sees Aries already sprinting to save her. Later, JJ is back home lying in bed. She's taken a 2-day sick leave to recover. Her aunt walks in with breakfast, and JJ confesses she wants to drop out because she cannot survive this school. She says she has no clue how to deal with the students targeting her, especially since she promised to stay out of drama. Her aunt drops a wholesome reality check, telling her she doesn't have to take the abuse in silence and can activate her main character energy to defend herself without overdoing it. Afterward, JJ heads out to buy medicine, but out of nowhere, a pack of classmates spawns and tries to grab her, forcing her to go with them. She manages to escape and, in a textbook K-drama accident, ends up falling right into the arms of Kiefer, who was standing right behind her. He claims the guys just wanted to bring her to him because they needed to talk. JJ and Kiefer sit down together at a cafe, and she skips the small talk, asking what exactly he wants from her. Instead of using his words, Kiefer pulls out a band-aid and, with a sudden softness no one expected from this toxic male, places it over her wound. Then he orders her ice cream like it's a magical cure-all product placement. JJ asks if this is his Delulu way of bribing her to forget the literal sports equipment he hurled at her face, and Kiefer admits he has zero clue how to apologize but knows all girls love ice cream. JJ rejects the gesture and struts away serving dignity, though a few steps later she does a total U-turn, snatches the ice cream and continues on her way because free food is free food. The next day, JJ goes to school and locks herself in a bathroom stall. Shortly after, a cliché squad of mean girls walks in. They start gossiping about the gym disaster, and one of them, Freya, starts dragging Ella, calling her completely untrustworthy for dumping Kiefer to date Aries. While they keep spilling the tea, Freya notices her friend Michaela is staying totally quiet. She asks why the radio silence, and Michaela says she actually thinks Ella is a good person and not the villain Freya is making her out to be. Freya loathes the answer but quickly pivots the narrative to target JJ. She wonders why the guys are giving her any attention, claiming she sees zero reason for it, especially since she thinks JJ isn't even pretty. JJ, who has absorbed every single insult, loses her mind. She storms out of the stall, stands right in front of her without saying a word, and splashes water all over her before sprinting towards Section E. Freya and her entourage chase her down, cornering her right outside the building. That exact moment, the entire Section E squad walks out to witness the unhinged spectacle. Freya's guy friends also show up, and in the distance, Ella and Aries appear to watch the drama unfold. Freya, utterly humiliated, declares that JJ had the audacity to drench her and needs to be punished. But Aries steps in and announces that JJ is his sister. JJ, thinking she just unlocked ultimate plot armor, stands with pure main character energy, confident Aries will save her. But to her absolute horror, Aries keeps talking and states he won't defend her if she was the one who messed up. Freya, now serving a victorious villain face, starts explaining the cringe school hierarchy. She reveals the school is divided into 5 sections. First is Section A, featuring Freya, Ella, and the elite students, and she drops the bomb that Aries is the literal leader. She explains Section A consists of the absolute best who get treated like royalty by everyone else. Section B is for the minor background characters who serve them. Section C is made up of the friendly social butterflies, mentioning that Raki, the girl who welcomed JJ on day 1, belongs there. Then she moves on to Section D, which is composed entirely of guys who act as personal bodyguards for the Section A elites, ensuring no one disrespects them. Finally, she mentions Section E, where JJ is stuck, reminding her they belong to the absolute bottom level of the entire school hierarchy and that nobody cares about them. After finishing her explanation, Freya offers her an escape route. She will forgive her only if she gets down on her knees and kisses her shoe. JJ, of course, refuses to give her that satisfaction. Instead, activating her main character energy, she boldly tells everyone that she was in the bathroom stall and overheard Freya dragging Ella, revealing she insulted her behind her back and called her an absolute disgrace. Freya instantly panics because she knows Aries will hand her a massive penalty for talking trash about Ella. Desperate, she lies straight to his face, denying everything, and to save herself, she accuses Michaela of being the hater. The other mean girls in her entourage back up the lie like a cliché backup choir. Michaela, completely horrified, tries to defend her honor and insists to Aries that she never said a single bad word against Ella. But Aries serves pure toxic behavior, completely ignores her, and orders the Section D bodyguards to punish her. The guys grab her, preparing to attack her in front of the whole school. Right at that exact second, Calix, a guy from Section E, spawns into the scene, launching himself at the Section D thugs like a low-budget action hero, defeating them to protect her. It's revealed that Calix is actually Michaela's ex-boyfriend, and the slow burn drama is officially unhinged. Tension skyrockets. Aries and Kiefer stand face to face, giving major red flags. Aries wants Michaela punished, and Kiefer is totally against it. The situation explodes when Aries attacks Kiefer, hitting him with pure violence and triggering a massive brawl among all the students. Later, Yuri and Kiefer sit down to debrief the chaos. Yuri points out that all their attempts to evict JJ from the classroom have completely failed, and instead, the guys are starting to catch feelings, slowly accepting her into the squad. Kiefer smiles with pure malice and reveals his new Delulu plan. He will make JJ fall head over heels for him, get her emotionally attached, and then suddenly ghost her, breaking her heart into a million pieces. That way, he won't just get rid of her, he'll also infuriate Aries by destroying his sister. Yuri absolutely loves the cruelty of this cringe plan and agrees to help. Later, Sian comes sprinting in, completely desperate, and tells Kiefer that JJ is currently fighting the Section D bodyguards in the gym. Kiefer runs over and arrives just in time to see JJ on the floor while one of the guys is about to hit her. Without a second thought, Kiefer grabs the attacker and totally destroys him. Then, Kiefer and JJ stand shoulder to shoulder against the 3 remaining dudes. They launch into a fierce battle, using their plot armor to defeat them with the raw strength of professional fighters. As the fight wraps up, JJ and Kiefer collapse to the ground, completely exhausted. She gives him a rare, genuine thank you for saving her life. That moment, Sian and Yuri storm into the gym. Yuri approaches JJ, lifting her up to take her to the infirmary, but before they leave, he drops a serious warning, letting her know the administration is going to investigate the brawl. He orders her not to mention Kiefer under any circumstances because if he gets dragged into another major incident, he will be permanently expelled. Then she moves on to Section D, which is composed entirely of guys who act as personal bodyguards for the Section A elites, ensuring no one disrespects them. Finally, she mentions Section E, where JJ is stuck, reminding her they belong to the absolute bottom level of the entire school hierarchy and that nobody cares about them. JJ agrees and promises to keep his name out of the investigation, swearing she won't be a total snitch. The next day, a massive rainstorm hits, looking like the sky is throwing an absolute unhinged tantrum. The administration decides to dismiss everyone early for safety. JJ calls Aries to pick her up, but when she steps outside the building and waits under the pouring rain, he ghosts her. There she is, soaking wet and looking completely cringe when Yuri spots her and offers a ride. Left with zero choices, JJ gets into the car and he drives her off. Noticing she is shaking like jello from the cold, Yuri passes her his jacket so she can warm up, serving rare non-toxic behavior. Shortly after, JJ gets a plot twist surprise when she realizes Yuri didn't take her home but straight to his own house instead. He explains that the roads leading to her place are completely flooded and totally impossible to clear. He offers her a spot to crash until the weather stops being dramatic, and JJ reluctantly agrees. Stepping inside, her jaw drops because Yuri's house looks like a literal royal palace, giving off more luxury and shine than a mall during the holidays. Yuri guides her to a guest room and tells her to change immediately, mentioning she can wear his clothes while the maid washes and dries hers. Then he exits to give her some privacy. After a while, Yuri returns and they sit down to spill some tea. JJ asks about his family, and he explains that his parents live in Japan managing corporate empires, meaning he lives in this giant mansion with only his grandfather. Later, Yuri brings her to have lunch with the grandpa, who is absolutely stunned because this is the first time his grandson has ever brought a girl home. During the meal, JJ activates her main character energy and completely impresses him with her manners and respect, leaving the grandfather totally enchanted. The next day at school, JJ thanks Yuri and playfully jokes around with him as they walk together. Kiefer stands there completely paralyzed, seeing Yuri actually laughing and vibing with JJ. Feeling nosy and visibly annoyed, he pulls him aside and demands to know what went down last night. Yuri spills all the details about the flood and her sleepover, and noticing Kiefer getting triggered, he reassures him that this change of heart doesn't alter the original Delulu plan to break JJ's heart into a million tiny pieces. Shortly after, Kiefer and JJ get summoned to the principal's office. When they arrive, the Section D bodyguards are already stationed there, accusing them of launching a violent, unhinged attack for zero reason. JJ tries to defend herself and activate some plot armor for Kiefer, but she notices the principal isn't buying it at all, mostly because Kiefer's toxic permanent record is longer than a soap opera. JJ is shocked when the principal puts 100% of the blame squarely on Kiefer. In that exact second, she remembers Yuri's warning. If Kiefer gets dragged into another massive red flag incident, he will be expelled for life. Decided to shield him like a true dramatic heroine, JJ steps forward and declares she was solely responsible for the brawl. The principal, however, clocks that she's clearly trying to cover for him and warns her that she could be the one expelled for taking the fall for a violent act. JJ freezes at the threat, but she insists that Kiefer had absolutely nothing to do with it. Principal responds by stating she will call JJ's guardian to get their corporate self down to the school immediately. After leaving the office, Kiefer actually thanks JJ for the massive sacrifice she just made to save his toxic life from permanent expulsion. A moment later, Angelo pulls up to the school and drags her to a secluded corner for a private confrontation. He screams at her for getting into unhinged drama yet again and drops a severe reality check, reminding her she promised the entire family she wouldn't cause any mess in this new environment. JJ offers a sincere apology and promises she won't trigger any more trouble for the rest of the semester, trying to preserve her remaining plot armor. That night, Kiefer is chilling at Yuri's house with the rest of the Section E squad. He explains his Delulu deceitful plan with absolute luxury of detail. He will make JJ fall hopelessly in love with him, only to break her heart into a million pieces and force her to self-evict from the classroom in pure shame. Yuri, looking visibly uncomfortable and serving major second lead vibes, stays completely mute and refuses to call out his friend. The next day at school, JJ hears a weird noise behind a massive dumpster. Approaching the area, she's shocked to find Michaela hiding there in a total state of panic. She is absolutely terrified because Aries ordered the Section D bodyguards to hunt her down and punish her, still fully believing the unhinged lie that she was the hater who dragged Ella. Living in pure fear for her safety, she has been sprinting and hiding all morning like a fugitive in a low-budget thriller. JJ feels bad for her and asks if anyone even tried to help. Michaela responds that the only person with enough power to save her was Ella, But unfortunately, she ghosted school that day. JJ takes her to the bathroom, helps her fix her hair, and decides to march her straight into Section E, hoping the sheer presence of the guys will shield her from the elite pursuers. However, the second they step into the classroom, Kiefer gets visibly annoyed by Michaela's presence and tries to evict her immediately to avoid any extra drama. JJ screams at him that Michaela desperately needs a hero and reminds him that he literally saved her when she was down. Kiefer clocks this as the absolute perfect opportunity to kickstart his fake romance arc, and giving her a look loaded with malicious intent, tells JJ he's willing to do absolutely anything for her, serving maximum main character energy. Yuri, watching this whole performance from afar, cannot even hide his classic K-drama jealousy. JJ, completely flustered, gets super nervous and has zero clue how to react to this sudden avalanche of attention. At the end of the day, JJ walks Michaela home to ensure no Section D red flags attack her on the street. While they are walking, JJ asks about her complicated slow burn history with Calix. Michaela explains they used to love each other deeply. One day, Ella dropped a total bomb, claiming she saw Calix giving major cheating energy with another girl. Michaela was shocked, but didn't buy the cringe rumor at first. Later, she personally caught him getting way too close to another girl in the cafeteria, which fully validated Ella's tea. Since that exact second, she cut all ties with Calix. Michaela shares that he has been consistently trying to apologize and rewrite their script, but she has strictly refused to give him another chance. Finally, she asks JJ if she thinks Calix deserves a redemption arc. JJ looks over at Calix, noting the genuine regret written all over his face, and advises Michaela to think very carefully before making a final, permanent decision. Later, JJ walks Michaela all the way to her house to ensure she arrives safe and sound, acting like an impromptu bodyguard. That very night, JJ confronts Aries like she's his living, breathing conscience and drops the truth bomb that what he did to Michaela is completely wrong. She insists Michaela never dragged Ella and that he is punishing a totally innocent person. Right in the middle of their unhinged argument, Ella spawns into the scene and gets absolutely furious upon learning about everything Aries did in her name. She leaves completely insulted, and Aries runs after her like a regretful puppy trying to fix his toxic disaster. The next day, Ella approaches JJ and thanks her for defending Michaela when nobody else had the courage to step up. She tells her she talked to Aries and made him promise to leave Michaela alone for good, but she also begs JJ to keep Calix away from Michaela because she fears he will break her heart into a million pieces yet again. JJ refuses to play impromptu matchmaker and tells her she has zero right to meddle in their relationship, stating they are the only ones who should script their own future. Later, JJ's jaw drops when a Section A student appears carrying a massive bouquet of flowers and confesses to Michaela that he has loved her for ages but never had the main character energy to say it out loud. JJ advises her to think carefully before replying, but Ella interrupts her and orders her to stay out of it. That exact second, Calix spawns and, in front of the whole crowd, tells Michaela he regrets everything he did and begs for an opportunity to speak in private to tell her the absolute truth, acting like a textbook high school Romeo. Meanwhile, Kiefer and Yuri keep their eyes locked on JJ because she looks completely thrilled by the romantic scene between Calix and Michaela, looking like she's watching a peak slow burn K-drama. Finally, Michaela responds to Calix with total sincerity, stating she is willing to give him another chance. The Section E students celebrate like they just won a championship game. Later, JJ and Kiefer watch the couple from afar and see Calix screaming with pure joy because Michaela agreed to consider taking him back. Kiefer capitalizes on the romantic atmosphere and tells JJ that he wants to experience a moment just like that with her. JJ gets super nervous, blushes, and flees the scene, having zero clues how to respond to his Delulu game. JJ walks into the bathroom and notices someone wrote cringe insults all over the stall door. Instantly, she cooks up a plan and activates it to expose the truth. She hunts down Cien and David and shows them a video she secretly recorded on her phone in the girls' room. The footage clearly exposes Freya dragging Ella behind her back, serving solid proof against her red flags. Later, when JJ arrives home, she shows the video to Aries and demands he punish Freya, but she completely freezes when Aries refuses, telling her he knows she just wants to use him for a cheap revenge arc, and that he won't let himself be her pawn. He walks away, leaving her frustrated because her ultimate plan to unmask Freya just totally failed. The next morning, JJ is pedaling to school on her bike when a guy in a car pulls up to ask for directions. She serves total kindness, explaining the route, and he offers a quick thank you before driving off. Right at that exact second, Yuri spawns and asks about the random dude. JJ tells him he was just lost looking for directions and desperately needed a hero. Two of them continue toward the school together. Once at school, Michaela approaches JJ to offer a genuine thank you for helping her make the right choice about her heart. She hands her a letter and begs her to deliver it to Calix. JJ sprints to drop it off, and Calix, surrounded by his entourage, opens it looking incredibly nervous while everyone holds their breath waiting for the verdict. Suddenly, Calix screams with pure joy, announcing that Michaela officially agreed to take him back. Hyped, he hugs JJ and thanks her for being the absolute reason for his happiness. She tells him to stop wasting time and go straight to his girl. Kiefer and Yuri watch the scene, actually happy with the wholesome vibes in the air. In PE class, the Section E squad and the Section A elites are training in the gym. JJ activates her main character energy and proves to be the absolute fastest, leaving everyone in the dust. But Kiefer, using his usual toxic trickery, trips her to steal the win. JJ isn't about to play the victim and trips him right back, sending him crashing down like a literal sack of potatoes. The entire gym completely freezes because they know Kiefer has an unhinged, explosive temper and could drop a massive red flag reaction. However, he shocks the whole crowd. Instead of losing his mind, he playfully chases JJ around, threatening a fake penalty for what she did. She runs like she's in a cliché sitcom, but Kiefer catches her and mid-struggle, he accidentally kisses her. The entire gym goes dead silent. Aries steps in, declaring he will protect JJ from Kiefer's toxic behavior, but Kiefer stops him, insisting it was a total accident and that JJ didn't even care. Aries, serving major overprotective brother energy, grabs her by one wrist to pull her away, and Kiefer snatches the other, starting an unhinged tug-of-war like a literal high school strength competition. Finally, Kiefer pulls her toward him and intentionally kisses her straight on the mouth in front of everyone. Later, he's seen in the classroom holding a bag of ice to his face. Turns out JJ ate and unleashed a massive punch right after the kiss like an amateur boxer. The next day, JJ sees a couple hugging and instantly flashes back to the chaos with Kiefer. She cannot even believe a toxic male like him could have real feelings for her. Shaking it off, she starts gently hitting her own head to force these Delulu ideas out of her brain. Cien spots her and asks if she's okay. JJ says she's fine, but suddenly feels totally weak and runs to the bathroom to splash water on her face. Inside the restroom, Raki walks in and notices JJ is giving major fever and sickness energy. She asks if she's visited the infirmary or popped some medicine. JJ responds that she needs zero help and will survive. Plus, she can't leave because she has a major exam today. Raki uses the moment to mention she wanted to spill some tea ever since the massive brawl with Freya. JJ admits she's still completely insulted by what went down. Raki drops a serious warning that Freya will never leave her alone and is actively planning a cringe revenge arc like a low-budget action movie villain. She explains that Freya pulled the exact same unhinged stunt on her in the past, causing a mountain of trouble for Cien and ultimately forcing his permanent transfer to Section E. Finally, she drops an absolute dark secret. Aries knew Freya was acting up all along, but he couldn't hand her a penalty because he is running a secret relationship with her behind Ella's back. JJ is left absolutely shocked absorbing this unhinged revelation. Raki explains that she personally caught them giving major affectionate energy at a party, revealing that Freya constantly threatens Aries to expose their toxic situationship to Ella. Thanks to this literal blackmail, Freya runs the school like she owns the entire circus, facing zero consequences for her red flags. JJ, still with her jaw on the floor, asks Raki about her slow burn history with Cien. Raki reveals they used to love each other, but when Freya found out, she spawned a massive wave of jealousy because she also wanted Cien. Ever since, Freya was picking fights with Raki 24/7, making her life pure cringe. When Cien tried to activate his main character energy to protect her, Freya falsely accused him of theft, ruining his reputation and getting the administration to dump him straight into Section E like it's the ultimate Shadow Realm punishment. JJ returns to the classroom looking completely defeated after absorbing all this crazy lore. Meanwhile, her health is deteriorating fast, and she can barely keep her head up like she took a literal tranquilizer. She sits right between Yuri and Kiefer, fighting for survival against the sleep demons. Teacher arrives and distributes the tests, but JJ is too exhausted to focus on a single question. Ultimately, she loses the battle against her sickness and falls fast asleep on her desk. After a while, her classmates wake her up, and she instantly panics realizing she slept through the entire exam and left a total blank page. She gets terrified thinking she's about to fail and her family will just mock her. The next day, JJ stands in front of the bulletin board where the results are posted. She is completely stunned to see she scored an incredibly high grade. In total disbelief, she thinks she's still Delulu from the fever. She glances at Kiefer and spots him smiling with total "I did that" energy. That's when it clicks. He saw her suffering during the test, and while she was unconscious, he secretly filled out her answer sheet. JJ is even more shocked to notice that Kiefer and Yuri also secured flawless top scores. She cannot even comprehend how students with this much brain power are still trapped in Section E. The following day, JJ walks into the classroom and finds Cien sitting alone. He mentions he's starving and needs food. He pulls flour and eggs out of his locker and begs her to make him pancakes. JJ tells him she needs actual kitchen equipment, but Cien shocks her by revealing there are tools hidden all over the room. She pulls them out and starts cooking, evening, and the guys crowd around totally hyped for the meal. Yuri and Kiefer arrive and are stunned to see her acting like a chef. Kiefer locks eyes with her and claims whoever ends up as her boyfriend will be incredibly lucky, adding that he wants to be the one. JJ gets so flustered by his flirting that she completely forgets the pancake on the pan, causing it to burn until it's blacker than the night. She screams at Kiefer, blaming his toxic distractions for the mess. Kiefer exits the room, and Yuri immediately steps in to rescue her, helping her cook the rest of the pancakes like a true second lead hero. During recess, Sian is sitting alone with a literal women's purse resting on his lap. JJ spots him and asks, totally nosy, whose bag that is. Sian explains that it belongs to a girl named Melda, who left it with him while she hit the restroom. But the second Melda returns, she loses her mind seeing him with her bag and spawns a random guy to accuse Sian of stealing her cash. Sian denies the unhinged allegation, but the guy isn't buying his narrative and activates a brawl. JJ steps in to serve bodyguard energy for Sian, shoves the other guy, and tells Melda that she personally witnessed her giving Sian the bag to watch over. Melda, however, denies this like a professional liar and claims Sian is lying straight to everyone's face. A massive crowd of background characters gathers as the cringe tension skyrockets. Sian tries to defend his innocence, but nobody believes him, especially the Section A elites, because his permanent record is already stained with theft allegations. Freya tries to insert herself into the drama to drag him too, but JJ cuts her off instantly and tells her she is the absolute last person who should be speaking on this tea. JJ exposes her in front of the whole crowd, declaring she knows Freya has falsely accused Sian multiple times in the past. A Section A student steps in and asks Melda exactly how much money she lost. The second she drops the number, he pulls that exact sum out of his pocket and hands it over. Then he spins towards Sian and drops a highly sarcastic congratulation, stating he doesn't need to steal since his family is supposedly rich. JJ completely loses her patience, utterly furious over the blatant injustice against Sian. She wants to fight the entire Section A crowd, knowing they framed him, but Yuri grabs her and drags her back to the classroom, serving major second lead authority. He tells her to confirm the absolute truth with Sian before starting a war. JJ stands in front of him and asks directly if he actually stole the cash. Sian insists he didn't and that this is a total setup. JJ and her classmates believe him, showing pure squad solidarity. Later at home, Aries is chilling with Ella. He tells her he knows she was the actual mastermind who framed Sian and asks why she did it. Ella explains she is completely pressed about JJ and wanted to hurt her by making her suffer through Sian. She is still holding on to pure Delulu resentment because JJ's main character energy influenced Michaela to take Calix back, causing Michaela to change and ghost Ella. She's also completely triggered that all the Section E guys are treating JJ like royalty, when they used to be her personal entourage. Aries comforts her and tells her to forget about the background noise and focus only on him, promising to make up for everything she lost like a textbook toxic boyfriend. The next day, JJ talks to Kiefer and demands cash because she wants to fix the humiliating situation Sian went through. Kiefer drops a red flag warning telling her to stay out of it, but she insists, so he hands over the money. JJ hunts down the student who paid Melda and throws the cash straight into his face, declaring Sian is not a thief. Then she screams in front of the entire crowd that she was the one who actually stole the money from Melda's bag. Aries steps in and tells her he gets that she's trying to activate plot armor for Sian, but he never expected her to take the fall. Freya seizes the absolute perfect opportunity, records JJ's fake confession, and uploads the video online immediately like a desperate clout chaser. The second JJ returns to the classroom, she finds her squad looking completely pressed. Her jaw drops when they show her the video Freya uploaded, exposing her fake confession to the whole internet. Sian is drowning in guilt because JJ got dragged into this unhinged mess for him, but she tells him she doesn't care as long as his name is cleared. Sian steps up and gives her a grateful hug. Yuri, Kiefer, and the rest of the guys are genuinely touched, completely won over by her selfless main character energy. Kiefer immediately contacts his hacker friend, Edrix, ordering him to delete the video from every single platform to crush the cringe clout chasing. The next day, Angelo drops a massive reality check on JJ after catching the video online. She's shocked to realize Angelo actually has Kiefer's number, as he calls him straight up to demand the absolute truth. Kiefer calms him down, explaining JJ only took the fall to activate plot armor for CNS reputation, and confirms the footage has already been wiped. Angelo chills out but gives JJ a severe warning never to pull a stunt like that again. Later, JJ's grandmother arrives alongside her uncle's wife, who utterly loathes her existence. The aunt immediately spills the tea about the video to the grandma, but the grandma strictly refuses to believe her girl is a red flag. Frustrated by the toxic household vibe, JJ states she needs fresh air and walks out. JJ enters a restaurant only to stumble into the section of mean girls. The second they spot her, they call the waiter and claim she's a literal thief, stating her presence is ruining their elite vibe. The waiter approaches and orders her to get out. Right at that exact second, Yuri spawns into the scene and goes full hero mode. He tells the waiter he will personally buy out the restaurant's entire profits for the day and demands the mean girls be evicted instead. JJ is left with her mouth wide open, especially when she discovers the entire establishment belongs to Yuri's corporate family. The intimidated waiter obeys instantly, tossing the section of girls out like actual flies. Yuri sits down with JJ and treats her to lunch. She offers a happy thank you, enjoying this sudden plot twist like a viewer watching a peak drama. The wholesome piece gets cut short because Kiefer pulls up in his car, and his face goes completely dark seeing JJ laughing with Yuri like they're starring in a cliché rom-com. The toxic love triangle is officially forming. JJ opens up to Yuri, spilling her whole life story and the messy details of her complicated family dynamics. Yuri shares his own lore, revealing he has a younger sister and lived with his parents in Japan for ages. Throughout the chat, Yuri cannot stop staring at JJ while she eats, secretly admiring her beauty, and when she catches him, he plays it off like it's nothing. He asks if she's only helping Cien, and she responds that she sees him strictly as a brother, which immediately brings Yuri peace of mind. Then he asks about her romantic history, and JJ counts 2 past relationships. The first turned out to be a total toxic loser, so she dumped him, and the second was severely sick and ended up in a coma, forcing a tragic separation. Yuri realizes he's starting to catch major feelings for her, but he freezes because he can literally picture Kiefer spawning in to drag him by his red hair. Kiefer finally calls his entourage and heads out to meet them, while JJ asks Yuri if he's ever been in love. He confesses he experienced a brutal, slow burn, unhinged heartbreak with an unrequited love. She playfully drags him with some sarcastic humor, telling him he shouldn't feel bad even if he's talking about the most popular girl in the entire school. Yuri reassures her that he's already completely over it, and JJ jokes that the person he likes is standing right behind him. Yuri gets totally startled by the joke but then laughs at her playful attitude. She tells him she needs to bounce because she left her bike outside. Yuri offers to spend the rest of the day with her and drive her home later, and JJ accepts, activating their slow burn vibe. Meanwhile, Kiefer is in a toxic, unhinged mood and wants to fight anyone who crosses his path. Tension among the squad skyrockets when they discover their star hacker, Edrix, failed to break into the school system or hack the security cameras to find out who actually stole the cash from the bag. This major failure makes them think Edrix isn't even that iconic of a hacker and that someone else completely outplayed him. Someone suggests checking the building's cameras anyway, but Kiefer shuts down the idea, calling them idiots and reminding them that since the cameras are in the security department, they will get a massive beating if they get caught. He cancels that plan and orders them to move forward with a mysterious second plan. Suddenly, someone asks where Yuri is, and Kiefer completely explodes, screaming that his presence should be more than enough for everyone. Then he decides to punish his friends by forcing them into an intense basketball match to vent his pure cringe frustration. On the flip side, Yuri acts like a total textbook gentleman and offers to take JJ home on her bicycle. She gets instantly pressed because she thought he'd drive her in a comfortable luxury car, not on 2 shaky wheels serving zero stability. Terrified of falling, she grabs his stomach to balance herself, and Yuri starts laughing like crazy because it tickles. He begs her to move her hands, so she places them on his shoulders, but right then the bike loses balance and JJ ends up eating dirt, landing on the ground with a cut on her leg. Yuri, completely intact, pulls out his handkerchief and carefully ties it around her wound, then helps her up and settles her back on the bike while walking right beside her like an impromptu bodyguard. The second they arrive home, Yuri carries her inside like she fainted in a classic drama scene. Her grandmother spawns and immediately drags him, telling him to put her down because he's making a complete fool of himself in front of the neighbors. Yuri insists on staying to help, so the grandma invites him inside to sit on the couch. He snatches the first aid kit, determined to treat the wound with maximum product placement energy. JJ clings to her grandma from the pain, but Yuri's soft touch calms her down so much she barely feels the sting. The grandma, always clocking the main character energy, notices they make a great couple and asks Yuri straight up if he's JJ's boyfriend. She denies it instantly, but the grandma insists they look like they're dating. Yuri turns as red as his hair, and JJ explains they are strictly classmates. The stubborn grandma insists he stay for the day and have dinner with them. Aries, showing major red flags and looking totally miserable about it, tries to evict him, but the grandma stands her ground and demands Yuri stay for dinner. When Aries protests yet again, the grandma grabs him by the ear and orders him to behave, warning him not to cause any drama. Everyone gets completely terrified because they know the grandma is absolute royalty and you do not play with her. During dinner, the grandma interrogates Yuri about his family and is hyped to learn they are Japanese. She begs him to drop a few words in Japanese just to show off, and is completely enchanted to discover he comes from a rich and respectable corporate empire. Aries, meanwhile, continues serving pure hater energy, loathing Yuri's presence and demanding JJ evict him, but she completely ignores his red flags. Then, JJ leaves Aries barking orders like a frustrated puppy and focuses entirely on Yuri. In a moment of silent, slow burn chemistry, Yuri starts stealing her peas because he loves them, and she claps back by robbing his potatoes. The grandma watches this product placement-worthy interaction and comments that JJ should learn to cook the dishes Yuri likes, declaring they are destined for an arranged marriage. Yuri literally beams with happiness, feeling like the grandma is the only one who truly understands his heart. Suddenly, JJ receives a text from Kiefer, but she leaves him on read and continues enjoying her time with Yuri. When they finish, JJ walks Yuri to the street. They laugh together while his luxury car pulls up, and he experiences pure joy when she softly says goodnight. He stands there paralyzed for a second, like literal hearts and fireworks are exploding inside his brain, completely Delulu and unhinged over her presence. After Yuri departs, JJ finally opens Kiefer's text and discovers the squad has officially updated their script and plan of action. The next day at school, JJ's jaw drops when one of Kiefer's henchmen tries to block her from entering the classroom like a low-budget club bouncer. But she, a total main character professional, distracts him with food and sneaks past him like a ninja. Walking inside, she sees the guys have cornered Melda and are beating up her boyfriend to force a confession. JJ screams at Kiefer to stop immediately, warning him that violence is pure cringe and that if the administration finds out, they will face a monumental penalty. She insists that kindness ate and always works better than punches. And of course, the second they release the girl, she runs to her boyfriend and finally declares she is ready to confess. But before she can speak, Kiefer cuts her off. JJ wants to rip her hair out in pure frustration, but the guys restrain her and tell her that not everything can be solved with sweetness. Kiefer, highly irritated by JJ's idealistic vibe, orders the squad to hold her back while he handles the boyfriend. Knowing Kiefer's unhinged strength could launch someone straight to Mars with a single blow, Melda cracks and drops the tea, then is completely innocent and someone else ordered her to frame him. Before she can name the true villain, Raki spawns from a hiding spot and reveals she recorded the entire confession on camera. JJ realizes this was the iconic second plan Kiefer had scripted. She is completely shocked by the class president's involvement, but Raki just delivers the line, "I came here for you." Cian interrupts with peak humor, saying, "No, she's lying. She came for me because she's still in love with me." The surrounding guys cheer him on like he's a literal rock star. The footage is handed to Edrix, who uploads it directly to Freya's account, making it look like she was the actual mastermind who exposed herself. When Freya discovers the video online, she completely loses her mind, immediately suspecting her friend Kiko is the red flag since he's the only one with her password. She confronts him, but he defends himself, claiming he's been right by her side the entire time and couldn't have done it. Freya searches for the true villain like an amateur detective. Meanwhile, Kiefer casually approaches JJ and tells her, "I fixed the whole situation with CN, so you should definitely offer a genuine thank you." She refuses, and he insists she needs to pay him back for his effort. When she declines yet again, he smiles with pure toxic mischief and says, "Then I want something else." JJ stands her ground with serious main character energy, assuming he's targeting her honor, but Kiefer laughs it off. "Do you seriously think I'd look at you like that? I'm talking about the food inside your backpack." He drops 3 options: pay him $25,000, deliver a heartfelt thank you, or bring him food every single day until graduation. JJ tries to negotiate the cost of the ingredients, but Kiefer distracts her, steals the food, and sprints away, leaving her cursing him out like an unhinged sailor. Turning around, she finds Yuri, the textbook gentleman, waiting for her with even more food. They head over to their usual slow burn spot and find CN and David ready to eat. JJ asks about Michaela and Calix, and the guys explain they are in the next room because they are officially a couple now and refuse to be disturbed. JJ plays it off with total indifference and shares her meals with CN and David. Yuri, completely touched by her generosity, surprises her with a high-end luxury dish she has never seen in her life. Since she has zero clues how to eat it, he seizes the opportunity to feed her directly, serving peak product placement vibes. JJ finds it absolutely delicious, but immediately invites the squad to try it too, worried about leaving them starving while she enjoys the feast. Suddenly, the guys drop an unhinged, serious question. If Kiefer and Aries were to have a brutal fistfight, whose side would you be on? JJ goes completely mute and confused, but Yuri tells her to just eat in peace and process the cringe later, dropping a major red flag warning that her final decision will be incredibly important for the entire school hierarchy. The next morning, JJ is heading to school carrying massive bags like she's about to open a literal convenience store. Out of nowhere, a new guy spawns in a car, sporting blue eyes so bright they look like literal LED headlights, alongside English so flawless he could teach at Harvard. He offers her a ride because he sees her struggling like a pack mule, but JJ strictly rejects him with pure main character energy, thinking, "I don't care how gorgeous and bilingual you are, I am not getting into a random stranger's car." Right after, Yuri pulls up in his luxury car, looking as shiny as if he just stepped out of a high-end perfume commercial. He offers her a ride, and this time she accepts the ride from her favorite second lead. At school, JJ asks how he happened to drive down her street when he doesn't even live anywhere near there. It is so obvious he went looking for her, but he lies straight to her face, claiming he was just running a random errand. Yuri offers to carry the bags, but JJ refuses, clarifying the food is strictly for that idiot Kiefer. In that exact second, Kiefer spawns like a cartoon thief, snatches the bag, and sprints straight to the classroom. The resulting chaos is pure cringe. The Section E guys swarm the food like literal starving wolves, proving that once again, her plot armor is the only thing keeping this circus together. JJ completely loses her mind and starts cursing out Kiefer like an unhinged sailor, blaming his toxic antics for the literal food disaster. She finally takes a seat when the teacher walks in to announce the highly anticipated school festival. JJ is left looking totally confused, so the guys drop the lore, explaining it's a week full of activities, games, and iconic beauty pageants that Freya has won every single year. Every department gets an assignment, and Section E is stuck with security and cleaning duty for the festival. Kiefer strictly refuses, stating it's pure cringe to be viewed as the school's literal maids. JJ is not having it and wants to participate to serve some positive energy. They get into a heated, unhinged argument that divides the classroom. Some back Kiefer out of fear of his red flags, while others activate their main character energy and support JJ because she promises endless food and pretty girls from other sections. The teacher steps in and orders everyone to calm down and script a compromise. During recess, JJ is walking with CN, who tries to shoot his shot by suggesting they grab lunch completely alone. She clocks his flirting and gets instantly pressed, so she decides to call Yuri. She tells him she's joining him and the rest of the squad, then snatches Kiefer's empty lunchbox to return it. Kiefer, giving major toxic jealousy, refuses to let her bounce and orders her to eat right there with him. When she declines, he summons the entire entourage and forces them to eat in that exact spot, trapping JJ in his Delulu web. Luckily, she ends up sitting right next to Yuri. The rest of the squad is starving, trying to rob their food, but Kiefer drops a red flag warning stating that stealing is now strictly banned and everyone needs to bring their own meals. Then he shoves himself right between JJ and Yuri, fully believing she's going to serve him like a maid, but she ignores him completely. Feeling bad for the hungry background characters, JJ suggests cooking for everyone since there's a kitchen nearby, but Kiefer screams at her to not touch the equipment because it belongs to a friend. The massive plot twist is that the owner of the gear is a guy named Iman, who has been ghosting school because he's stuck working at his dad's failing restaurant. Sadly, his family is drowning in debt because his mom is an unhinged shopaholic who spends everything they earn. JJ feels terrible for Iman's tragic backstory and tells the squad they need to visit him. Kiefer warns her to stay out of other people's private business, but the rest of the group insists on going, so he has zero choices but to follow them. When they arrive at the restaurant, the place is completely dead. Iman drops the tea, explaining he plans to drop out for good because if they don't clear the family debt ASAP, the authorities will permanently shut the place down. JJ activates her ultimate main character energy and suggests they all work there as unpaid volunteers to fix their revenue, and the squad agrees to collaborate for zero cash. Once they start working, the customer count skyrockets in a massive way, mostly thanks to Yuri serving pure visual product placement. Despite the success, Yuri keeps giving customers a major hater scowl until JJ pulls him aside and orders him to drop a little smile because his face is actually charming. He listens to his girl, and the exact second he smiles, the female customers start screaming like they're at a K-pop concert. The girl's unhinged reactions are honestly as relatable as they are hilarious. Kiefer starts getting aggressively jealous, feeling like Yuri is stealing his spotlight and, worse, JJ's attention. The rivalry between the two intensifies rapidly, and both try to outdo each other right in front of her. Yuri starts taking charming selfies with the female customers, so Kiefer raises the stakes by letting the customers literally touch his muscles to prove his unhinged strength. The situation gets completely out of control and everyone starts losing their sanity, wondering where basic manners even went. JJ happily watches the spectacle while Yuri shows off his physics like a literal bodybuilder. The girls in the restaurant restaurant practically faint, utterly unable to ignore Yuri's impressive visual serving. Kiefer, unable to handle being outplayed, continues this toxic competition until late into the night. Suddenly, Kiefer burns his hand with hot food. JJ, who is standing right next to him, tells him he needs to rest and snatches the first aid kit. While she carefully treats the burn, Kiefer's tough bad boy facade completely melts like ice cream and his expression softens. After a moment, he snaps back to reality and tries to blame her narrative, muttering that this wouldn't have happened if they hadn't come to the restaurant. JJ ignores his toxic attitude and offers a genuine thank you for everything he did that day, including activating plot armor for CN. The vibe finally chills out, but the peace is short-lived because Aries, Freya, and their toxic entourage spawn at the restaurant, giving major suspicious looks. Both squads find themselves in a tense standoff like rival turkey birds. Just when a brutal brawl seems completely inevitable, Freya lowers the tension by telling everyone to calm down. Then she summons the waiters to order food. Yuri, who clearly loathes their existence, retreats to the back to avoid the drama. Kiefer tries to maintain his composure to prevent a massive scene, but Freya starts dragging JJ, claiming the waitress role suits her perfectly. Her mean girlfriend joins in, mocking Kiefer and questioning his family's rich status, hinting that his empire has fallen from grace. JJ strictly refuses to play the victim and claps back, telling them that they are actually working hard and are way less spoiled than the Section A elite crowd. To trigger Freya even more, JJ calls Michaela over to show off that her former bestie is now working alongside the Section E squad. JJ orders her to take the table's order, warning that if she stays a single second longer, she might actually drag Freya by her hair. Kiefer steps in. He places his hand on her shoulder and pulls her close to him, insisting that she should be the one taking the orders. The sudden physical contact leaves JJ incredibly nervous, thinking that being surrounded by this much muscle energy could make her faint at any moment. They start taking orders, and when it's Aries' turn, JJ moves like he's just a random cousin at a family reunion, shoving Kiefer's hand away with total main character energy and acting like she didn't even see him. Kiefer, who never misses a chance to play the game, decides to tease her right back. He playfully asks her what she wants and calls her by affectionate nicknames, standing tall like a literal lion who is completely unfazed by the cringe tension. The group receives the news that the food will arrive very soon. Suddenly, Kiko receives a text from someone named Ram, but he leaves them on read like a literal spam bot. Meanwhile, Kiefer and Calix march into the kitchen. Calix comments that the dynamic between JJ and Kiefer is absolutely unhinged, acting like they loathe each other, and suggests that if they stick to the original plan and something happens to JJ, Kiefer wouldn't even flinch. He proposes rewriting the script to remove her from the equation entirely, and Kiefer actually starts considering it, though his face is serving pure something smells illegal here energy. In that exact second, JJ bumps into Kiko, who out of nowhere shoots his shot and asks her out on a date. She is left completely shocked, but he reassures her that Kiefer knows absolutely nothing and stands there waiting for her response. Just then, David spawns into the class, screaming that Kiko is giving major sketchy vibes with JJ. The tension between the two guys feels like they're ready to trigger a brutal street fight. JJ tries to control the chaos by dragging David away, pretending there is urgent work left to do. Kiko watches her bounce and screams that he's still waiting for that answer, calling her beautiful like a textbook cringe male lead. Once inside, David spills all the tea right in front of the entire squad, asking out loud if JJ is seriously going to date Kiko. Everyone's jaw hits the floor, especially Kiefer, who asks her directly if she actually likes the guy. She denies it instantly and sprints out before they can corner her main character energy any further. Kiefer gets completely furious, showcasing major red flags as he suspects Kiko has hidden motives with JJ, which deeply worries him. Later, JJ asks Cien if there is some ancient toxic history between David and Kiko. Cien, while pretending he strictly hates drama, immediately spills the lore, confessing he knows about a brutal brawl in an abandoned factory. When the rest of the squad arrived, David was severely injured and Kiko was standing over him holding a metal pipe, leaving everyone questioning if he was the one who delivered the beating. Back then, David was the head of the department and ran a strict policy of avoiding mess, and since he didn't fight back, many background characters called him a total coward. When Kiefer stepped up as the new leader, everyone was hyped because they knew he would actually face any threat head-on. Then, Cien teases JJ, claiming she definitely likes Kiko, and when she denies it yet again, he drops a Delulu joke asking if she likes him instead. JJ threatens to rob his cake, and Cien responds by sticking his tongue out like a toddler. That night, Yuri walks her home, serving major overprotective protector energy because it's already late. He looks at her like a classic second lead and drops the line, "Why are you so tense? Just relax, I will protect you." It is crystal clear that Yuri is blissfully happy with every single minute he spends with her, and he even reminds her not to forget their future plans. Then he gets into his luxury car, which she jokingly claims will be hers one day, and drives off like a total drama icon. Out of nowhere, Kiko spawns from the shadows and scares JJ so bad she thinks he's a literal ghost. He explains he's been desperately trying to secure her phone number, but Aries strictly gatekept it and refused to hand it over. Kiko claims he's a totally respectable man who wants to run this slow-burn romance properly, declaring that he actually plans to propose marriage to her. JJ is left completely overwhelmed by the warp-speed development of this unhinged surprise marriage proposal. Aries spawns as the ultimate gatekeeping, overprotective guardian and firmly declares that absolutely zero engagements are happening under his watch. Kiko tries to drop some logic, saying, "Bro, I'm your friend," but Aries claps back with pure red flags. "Precisely because you are my friend, I will never allow it." To make things extra toxic, he bans JJ from dating anyone at all and evicts Kiko from the property, dropping a severe reality check on JJ by reminding her that her actual boyfriend is still suffering in a hospital bed while she is out here constantly surrounded by other guys. The next day, JJ steps outside her house looking completely anxious, scanning every direction to ensure Kiko isn't stalking her like a low-budget thriller villain. But instead, Kiefer surprises her and jokes, "Looks like you were expecting someone else." She immediately shifts the script and asks what he's even doing there. He informs her that he's driving her to a squad meeting because her main character energy is running late. He drives her in his high-end luxury car, which is giving off so much corporate wealth that JJ cannot stop staring in absolute awe. Meanwhile, she starts eating her breakfast in the passenger seat, and since Kiefer is also starving, he leans over to take a bite of her food but ends up biting her actual finger instead. JJ is completely frozen in shock, while Kiefer happily teases her, saying, "I skipped breakfast because I was busy picking you up. You should definitely compensate me." Then he interrogates her yet again, asking if she actually likes Kiko, and when she denies it, he serves a serious warning that he strictly loathes liars and will leave her stranded on the side of the road if she fakes it. JJ finishes her breakfast lost in her own Delulu thoughts, staring at her finger like she still can't process that cringe interaction. When they finally pull up to the restaurant, the entire entourage is already assembled. Iman drops the wholesome tea, informing everyone that his dad has made a full recovery and is reclaiming his CEO throne at the restaurant. This means Iman can finally return to school, and his mom, who went through a sincere redemption arc, took a leave of absence to support her husband's business. They decide to rehire the original staff, which will theoretically give the squad more time to study, though they all laugh and admit they never actually touch a textbook. Iman wants to reward everyone for their unpaid volunteer efforts by letting them use his kitchen gear at school to make up for all the lost meals. He begs JJ to help since her plot armor dictates she's always ready to sacrifice herself for the group, and she accepts with pure enthusiasm. Right after that, everyone starts working with diligence because the customers are about to spawn, except for JJ, who announces with total unhinged audacity that she is still starving and needs to eat a proper breakfast first. Kiefer, acting like a total softie underneath his bad boy facade, tells Michaela to bring her the menu so she can order whatever she wants, but adds with a malicious smile, she pays for herself. JJ curses him out in her mind, thinking, "You absolute toxic loser, I thought you were buying." Kiefer laughs and clarifies he was just playing, revealing that he is actually treating her, which makes her happy like a toddler with ice cream. Meanwhile, Yuri is left standing right beside them serving pure second lead sadness, feeling like his slow burn romance is officially slipping through his fingers. The next day, JJ is eating her breakfast when a maid drops the tea that a classmate is waiting outside and will strictly leave her stranded if she takes too long. JJ assumes it must be Kiefer, that absolute idiot, and walks out ready to fight, but she stumbles into Kiefer, Yuri, Cien, and Iman, looking way more handsome than usual. She instantly thinks, "Okay, now this is actually worth a double take." The guys tell her she needs to tag along to buy the necessary ingredients for school. JJ begs them to wait while she changes her clothes, but Cien serves some smooth energy and drops, "You look amazing exactly as you are." She curses him under her breath, but Kiefer actually validates the compliment. "He's right, you are beautiful." Hearing that, JJ feels her main character heart melt just a little bit inside. When they get into the car, Yuri observes them with a wave of toxic jealousy that could literally kill. They arrive at the store and purchase enough supplies to feed an entire tribe. JJ ends up carrying heavily loaded, unhinged bags and complains, "Does anyone here have a conscience to help me?" Yuri is right about to snatch the bags, but Kiefer pulls a fast one and gets ahead of him. Yuri is left feeling deeply hurt and offers to assist with the remaining bags, but JJ strictly refuses, insisting she has top section strength and can handle it alone. The next day at school, JJ is completely exhausted and just wants to sleep through the drama. Suddenly, Yuri surprises her from behind, and she is totally impacted by his new look. He ditched the glasses and is now serving pure visual energy with contact lenses. JJ tells him he looks great, thinking to herself, this man looks incredible with or without glasses. In that exact second, Kiefer experiences an unhinged attack of jealousy that rises inside him like an erupting volcano. Entering the classroom, JJ finds Sian fast asleep and tries to wake him up, but Iman stops her, saying, leave him, he's like a literal rock, you can't wake him up. They start cleaning the kitchen to store their supplies, and JJ notices a box labeled with the name Ella. She asks what went down, and they drop the lore, explaining that Ella is usually a good girl, but when she gets triggered, she is a literal demon. She once dragged a girl by her hair so hard she left her injured, and the administration wanted to expel her for life. Instead, they transferred her straight to Section E. JJ is completely shocked and asks how she managed to secure a redemption arc in return after everything that happened. Kiefer interrupts her with pure red flags. None of your business. Then he whispers, curiosity killed the cat, understood, kitty? And walks out. JJ gets a literal chill down her spine, but then she flashes back to how he held her hand that morning and completely forgets about his toxic rudeness. JJ gets to work, and while she's taking out the trash, she notices one of the guys acting super sketchy. She heads over to the exact spot where he was standing and finds something weird. Though she can't quite identify what it is, her curiosity is totally dominating her. But she can't ask a single question because the squad is too busy eating lunch. Yuri notices her giving off weird vibes and asks if she's okay, while Kiefer observes the whole performance with highly suspicious eyes, looking like he's ready to expose a dark secret. Suddenly, David spawns into the class looking completely beaten up, as if he just survived a brutal brawl with a bull. The guys immediately crowd around him and order the girls to stay far away from the cringe mess. Of course, JJ and Michaela immediately activate spy mode, trying to eavesdrop on the drama, but they fail like total amateur detectives. JJ starts to suspect that something is deeply wrong because the guys are serving pure unhinged secrecy. The second they spot her, everyone goes dead silent like they're at a literal funeral, making her feel like the unwanted guest at the party. Taking advantage of everyone being focused on Kiefer, JJ pulls David aside to use her main character energy, dropping the line, come on, as your close friend, tell me what happened. David confesses that Kiko announced he was going to propose marriage to her, and since he couldn't handle the thought, they activated a brutal brawl over her. JJ reassures him she will fix the toxic mess between them, but David strictly rejects her help. Kiefer, serving total mafia CEO red flags, orders the guys to evict her from the space, stating, she's only going to make things worse. Sian gets the mission to escort her and tells her, let's go, there are dishes waiting for you. They end up washing dishes together in the bathroom like a couple in a cliché rom-com. JJ begs him to spill the tea, but Sian insists, you know I strictly hate gossip. Finally, he cracks and confesses the guys are scripting a plot to avenge David. He begs her not to press him further and flees the scene like he just saw a literal ghost. A moment later, Kiefer spawns into the classroom and asks, what are you doing here, miss? She claps back with the exact same question. Kiefer explains it's the men's restroom and he has every right to be there. JJ argues it's not her fault the girls' bathroom is out of order. Kiefer interrogates her for the millionth time, asking if she likes Kiko, and she denies his Delulu narrative. He pulls her close, looks straight into her eyes, and challenges her, say it to my face. JJ tells him it's none of his business and asks why he cares so much. Kiefer, completely flustered and running out of lines like a student failing an oral exam, switches the script and accuses her of being obsessed with him. JJ explains she's just trying to solve the problems among the squad. Later, the group assembles and drops a serious warning telling JJ not to follow them, but her curiosity has way more plot armor than any warning. She tricks Sian, sneaks out, and tracks them to an abandoned building. She hides behind some wooden boards, but someone grabs her from behind and slaps a hand over her mouth. The Section E guys summon Kiko, who spawns with his toxic gang. A brutal street fight is about to explode between Kiko and David to settle their slow-burn rivalry once and for all. David takes off his jacket, ready to throw hands, but someone from above interrupts them and asks Kiefer, don't you even know who is actually behind this? It's Ram, the gang leader they already clashed with before. Ram, serving peak iconic drama villain energy, reveals he took JJ hostage just so she could watch the show. He drags her out and asks, what's your name, beautiful? The guys scream at him to release her, but Ram strictly refuses like a loser avoiding a debt payment. In the middle of the cringe chaos, JJ unleashes a massive headbutt on Ram, leaving him dizzier than a carnival ride. Then, acting like a total action movie heroine, she jumps straight off the platform, stunning the entire crowd, and completely loses consciousness from the impact. For a moment, she goes completely blank, wondering if she actually sustained a severe injury, because she can't even remember the impact of her unhinged jump. The guys stare at her like she's lost her mind, since she could have inflicted monumental damage on herself. Kiefer shows massive concern and checks on her immediately. They strictly refuse to let her act so recklessly again. They are genuinely terrified for her safety. Then, capitalizing on the cringe chaos, the entire squad manages to escape from the rival gang's territory. Later, once they are safe, everyone guards JJ as if she were royalty, begging her not to pull such a reckless stunt ever again. JJ dabs her forehead with a damp cloth, as if it were a literal magical formula to cure the dizziness from the impact. And Kiko, acting like a textbook medieval gentleman, hands her water. JJ offers a sincere apology for causing a scene. Because they fled the building, the other gangs start viewing JJ as weak, causing them to target her main character energy constantly, leaving her deeply frustrated in the process. She blames the guys for dragging her into this toxic underworld and decides to clear the air with Kiko face to face, which makes him happy like a toddler with a shiny new toy. The squad bounces to leave them alone, but Kiefer refuses to leave her with him. Ultimately, he steps back but keeps his highly suspicious, watchful eyes locked on them. Kiko sits right next to her and tells her to completely ignore David's narrative. JJ drops a severe reality check, making it crystal clear that she has zero interest in a slow-burn romance right now. It's nothing personal, she just prefers to stay single. He accepts her decision but walks away with his heart completely shattered. David insists on serving as her personal bodyguard, walking her home to ensure she arrives safe and sound, while Kiefer stalks them from behind with a face straight out of a toxic soap opera. JJ apologizes to David for the messy drama, but he only cares about her welfare. She tries to process the lore of why Kiko has such an unhinged violent streak. Turns out he used to be the top boss until he got brutally defeated, and ever since, he carries metal pipes around to prove his fake value. The group, of course, gives him major red flags and wouldn't trust him even if he handed out free candy. JJ is just glad they are activating plot armor for her, especially if Kiko is trying to trigger her. She briefly enters a Delulu state, wondering if anyone else would catch feelings for her, even suspecting that Kiefer might like her, but she aggressively brushes the thought out of her brain like shooing flies off a cake and heads inside. When JJ arrives home late, the entire household is completely pressed. She fakes a narrative, claiming she just hit her head. Angelo mentions he has to bounce for a business trip and informs her she will have to share a bedroom with Aries due to a space issue. Suddenly, JJ's phone rings. She searches for it while Aries explains the sleeping arrangements and how they need to handle the situation. The entire scene peaks in pure cringe comedy when JJ accidentally drops a literal pregnancy test. JJ instantly flashes back to finding that exact test behind the trash can, remembering it actually belongs to Denzel's girlfriend, who is the one serving pregnant energy. She enters pure panic mode, and through a series of unhinged misunderstandings, everyone, including Angelo, assumes she is pregnant with Kiefer's baby. Angelo curses out Kiefer over the alleged pregnancy, genuinely fearing for the family's elite reputation. Aries and JJ reach a peak level of toxic tension. She's desperately trying to clear her name while he blocks her path with more gatekeeping energy than a low-budget club bouncer. Ultimately, they summon Kiefer, and the families assemble to confirm the absolute truth of the pregnancy script. The hospital, JJ feels completely isolated, like her plot armor completely vanished and nobody is on her side. She even endures an incredibly awkward product placement style meeting with Kiefer's dad, who is also completely pressed over the scandalous rumors. Suddenly, the doctor spawns and officially confirms that JJ is not pregnant. The result is a literal negative. Everyone experiences a massive wave of relief, alongside a monumental dose of cringe embarrassment over the ridiculous misunderstanding. Kiefer, finding the entire narrative hilarious, cannot stop laughing, which triggers JJ's main character energy even more. She storms out completely insulted, and Yuri activates his second lead duties, following her to try and apologize. Yuri offers an apology on Kiefer's behalf, but she strictly refuses to accept it, utterly exhausted by the constant red flags and drama he drags into her life. When Kiefer finally catches up to her, JJ completely loses her patience and unleashes a massive punch straight to his face, leaving a visible mark as literal revenge for him exploiting the situation. The next day, the entire school is completely unhinged over the tea that JJ literally beat up the class president. Completely unfazed by the toxic gossip, she focuses on giving CN some heartfelt advice on how to treat Raki better, acting like a professional matchmaker. However, when Kiefer finally speaks up, he admits with a smirk that the entire pregnancy scare was just a Delulu joke. Realizing he has been orchestrating her literal misery for the plot, they get into another intense, toxic argument. Despite their constant clashes, JJ ends up sitting right next to him, serving slow burn vibes and wondering if he will ever deliver a sincere, genuine apology. Soon, the school assembles to debate the upcoming festival, and though it starts as pure chaos, they quickly begin discussing it like normal human beings. Freya's entourage is incredibly organized, just like the other elite sections, while Section E realizes they have absolutely zero prepared. Despite their Section A organization, JJ notes that the other sections are serving nothing special. Because of this, the Section E squad decides to split the tasks, planning to collect masks and act as security guards. But the teacher announces an iconic plot twist. The girls must dress up as boys and the boys as girls, and the most attractive one from each section will win a major prize. Freya, catching the perfect opportunity to humiliate JJ's department, forces them to participate. In the middle of the chaos of prepping food and setting up the booth, Kiefer continues his toxic routine of trying to get physically close to JJ like a literal muscular shadow. During the preparations, JJ spots Denzel sitting entirely alone, serving pure tragedy face. She approaches him, forces him to eat, and correctly assumes he is totally stressed out over his girlfriend's actual pregnancy. Denzel tries to shift the script with a joke, claiming he's the one who is actually pregnant. JJ, serving total naive energy, believes him for a literal second before realizing it's a prank, which gets her so pressed she snatches the food back and storms out like a total drama queen. Denzel simply responds by eating another plate. Later, Denzel's girlfriend begs him to acknowledge his child, but he rejects her with ice-cold red flags as if he were reading a textbook villain script. JJ spawns into the scene and, instead of comforting her, starts screaming at the poor girl, which forces Denzel to step up and defend his girlfriend. JJ misinterprets the entire dynamic, believing he is choosing the girl over the baby's welfare. She forces him into a face-to-face confrontation, dropping a reality check that he needs to be responsible for his actions. She tries to make Denzel acknowledge his kid, but right then the girl starts crying. She soon uncovers the tragic lore that the girl is an orphan with zero family support, which is the exact reason Denzel is hesitating. He is completely terrified of the lifelong responsibility. JJ attempts to comfort her, but the unhinged situation weighs so heavily that even her main character energy feels overwhelmed. Back in class, Denzel continues to ghost the girl as if she doesn't exist. JJ starts brainstorming who could actually help. She considers CN or Yuri, but fears they won't get involved in the mess. Finally, she decides David is the iconic choice to make Denzel face reality. She sits near him and asks him out for lunch. David, with peak humor, claims they are going on a literal date, and at that exact moment, CN eavesdrops and exaggerates the entire tea. The rumor spreads like wildfire, and soon everyone, especially a visibly triggered Kiefer, believes it's a real thing. To blow off some steam, JJ, David, and CN head to an amusement park. They have a blast screaming on the rides and enjoying the vibe, but the fun gets cut short when CN gets motion sickness and starts a playful argument with JJ. They end up chasing each other around the park like toddlers until CN, still serving pure Delulu energy though deeply dizzy, begs to get back on the rides. They decide it's better to chill and search for food. Later, David and JJ sit down together, creating a slow burn moment she never expected. She wants to talk business, specifically about getting Denzel to support his pregnant girlfriend. She is desperate to gatekeep the secret, but suspects Denzel's refusal to be with his girl is due to something he overheard. JJ knows Denzel can't make the next move, and while the Section E guys observe the whole performance from their hiding spots, she wonders who could actually convince him to own up to his responsibility. Suddenly, David reveals that the entire squad has been spying on them. To expose them, he tells JJ to close her eyes. The second she does, the hidden students poke their spy heads out. David seizes the opportunity to lean in for a near kiss, but the group mobs him to stop the madness because he already has a girlfriend. A massive, cringe scandal explodes. CN and the guys drag him, and Yuri gets way more furious than expected, making it crystal clear that he is deeply affected by the plot twist, especially considering how physically close Kiefer has been to JJ lately, which has fueled his toxic jealousy like a literal bonfire. Afterward, the squad decides to enter a haunted house. JJ is completely terrified and strictly refuses to enter, but everyone insists and forces group photos first to document the moment for the plot. Once inside, JJ's fear skyrockets, especially because her script dictates she has to partner up with CN. Everyone is completely scared, serving zero survival skills in this unhinged environment. One by one, they face jump scares. JJ, trying to activate temporary bravery, clings to CN, who is barely standing on his own feet. They navigate the dark hallways until a sudden scare triggers pure panic mode yet again. In the cringe confusion, they realize JJ has vanished, having split up on her own and gotten completely lost inside the attraction. JJ goes hyper-hysterical when she spots an actor dressed as a vampire and starts crying without control. The visual triggers painful memories from her past lore, making her even more emotional. Kiefer steps in immediately to comfort her while she suffers a full panic attack. He stays right by her side, trying to calm her down and reassuring her that she is safe. He promises he won't move from that spot, and finally manages to guide her toward the exit. However, in a moment of pure disorientation, JJ sprints off alone again. She and Kiefer start frantically calling out each other's names like they're starring in a thriller movie. Although she tries to chill, the vibe remains way too overwhelming. Finally, Kiefer finds her and wraps her in a deep embrace. She holds on to him tightly, and in that silent, slow burn second, it becomes crystal clear that Kiefer truly loves her. They quickly separate when their friends spawn into the scene to gatekeep any toxic gossip. Rejoining the entourage, everyone starts dragging them, fully convinced something romantic went down in the dark. JJ, trying to overcome the trauma, states she wants to get back on the rides. First, Kiefer refuses, but seeing how desperately she wants it, he gives in just to make his girl happy. She decides to enjoy the moment with the squad, though Yuri observes them closely, looking increasingly irritated. Kiefer keeps finding ways to get physically close to JJ, and Yuri, who also loves her, cannot handle the red flags. While they wait their turn, JJ notices Yuri seems to know some background characters nearby. They admire him, but he quickly bounces to avoid contact. Meanwhile, the squad manages to gaslight others into letting them cut the line, which completely impresses JJ. She thinks they are totally insane, but admits they have top section talent for persuasion. Kiefer, using just a charming smile, secures exactly what he wants, proving he can manipulate almost any situation with main character energy. Finally, CN, Yuri, JJ, and Kiefer board the Ferris wheel, and Kiefer insists on sitting right next to JJ. This gets the others totally pressed because it leaves them with zero seating space. The four travel together, and JJ starts entering a Delulu state, suspecting Yuri is only there to confess his feelings to the girl he likes. However, he laughs off her suspicion like it's a literal joke. They take photos together, but Yuri's patience hits its absolute limit because Kiefer is staying way too close to JJ. Suddenly, the wheel stops at the very top due to a mechanical failure. JJ instantly enters panic mode and clings to Kiefer, begging him to deploy plot armor and save them. They remain suspended in the air for a monumental amount of time until the technical issue is finally resolved. Meanwhile, Aries calls, completely pressed because JJ is taking a monumental amount of time. Angelo ordered him to track her whereabouts, but before she can even answer, Kiefer snatches the phone, which only fuels Aries' unhinged frustration. Aries already harbors a severe antipathy toward Kiefer, and this toxic gesture worsens the tension between them. Finally, Aries decides he's had a sufficient dose of the drama and goes out to pick her up himself, while Yuri stays dead silent and visibly annoyed. The other students continue playing and enjoying the city, but the true magic spawns when fireworks start exploding in the sky. JJ is completely fascinated, her eyes shining from the reflection of the lights. In this exact moment, she looks like a toddler filled with pure joy. Kiefer cannot tear his eyes away from her, serving pure main character energy. Anxious to capture the memory, JJ searches for her phone to take photos, but remembers Kiefer still has it locked in his gatekeeping possession. This triggers another argument between them, and in the middle of their playful cringe fight, she loses her balance and falls straight into his arms. She tries to break free, but he strictly refuses to let her go, his gaze fixed on her like a toxic CEO. Yuri intervenes, falling on top of both of them like a literal sack of potatoes. Sin laughs like he's watching a low-budget comedy show at the scene. Shortly after, Aries appears serving pure hater face, clearly triggered by how physically close JJ is to Kiefer. At home, Aries drops a red flag warning, telling JJ not to get involved with anyone from Section E, especially Kiefer, treating him like a literal contagious virus. That advice makes her reflect on her slow burn history with him, how he has always been there to activate plot armor and save her from 1,000 messes like a muscular emergency hero. Despite all the absolute evidence, she continues to deny her Delulu feelings and storms off with pure drama. Later, JJ and David head over to Denzel's house, and her jaw drops when she sees the unhinged conditions he lives in. Denzel's dad appears and immediately summons Denzel. Denzel is shocked to see her there, but realizes she is searching for a serious conversation. The vibe gets incredibly heavy when Denzel finally drops the tea about his harsh life of poverty. He explains they have to work at home just to survive and that he used this poverty narrative as an excuse to keep his girlfriend far away. Although they love each other, he feels a crushing amount of guilt because his girlfriend always buys him expensive luxury gifts that his broken budget cannot return. He wanted to gatekeep their romance in secret, but the actual pregnancy has left him completely paralyzed. unable to assume the lifelong responsibility and terrified of losing her like someone watching a horror movie. Just then, his girlfriend arrives with tears running down her face. JJ observes her heart break into literal pieces as she realizes how much Denzel's distance has wounded her. Overwhelmed by the emotional script, the girlfriend flees and accidentally crashes straight into Kiefer. When JJ spots Kiefer, she freezes like a turkey in a freezer, but still runs after Denzel's girlfriend. Everyone chases after her and finds her on the rooftop, ready to commit a reckless stunt. Everyone begs her to stop the madness, but Kiefer, noticing her hesitation, tells the squad to leave her alone. His unhinged gamble ate and works perfectly. She wavers and runs straight into Denzel's arms. He comforts her, promising never to ghost her again. The slow burn moment is so moving that everyone is left serving a hollow feeling in their hearts. The next day at school, Yuri clocks that JJ is serving pure anxious energy. Meanwhile, Felix is on the literal edge of a mental collapse. His brother has gotten into serious illegal trouble all because of Denzel, and he feels completely ghosted by the entire world. Later, JJ locates him playing basketball at his secret hiding spot. When she tries to deploy some positive energy, he snaps back with pure rudeness. Utterly exhausted by background characters constantly inserting themselves into his life, he quickly apologizes, admitting he is completely overwhelmed by the toxic family lore. JJ begs him to join the festival's basketball event, but he strictly refuses due to his unhinged rivalry with Denzel. These constant tensions deeply worry the squad, especially Yuri, who is activating massive red flags of jealousy over the amount of time JJ is spending with Felix. Later, JJ bumps into CN and a friend at a mechanic shop, where they drop some jokes about her and CN entering the festival's iconic cross-dressing pageant. The laughs get cut dead short when a rival gang spawns out of nowhere and literally kidnaps JJ. It is revealed that Ram is the actual mastermind behind the kidnapping script. He sends a mocking video to the group, declaring that only 4 of them can show up to rescue her. Yuri, completely furious, destroys a chair in pure unhinged anger, while Kiefer orders him to save that energy for the actual brawl. Kiefer, CN, David, and Yuri head straight to the hideout. While waiting for the perfect second to strike, Yuri confronts Kiefer, dropping the tea that he clearly has feelings for JJ. Kiefer tries to deny his Delulu narrative, but to anyone watching, it is completely obvious he is lying like a low-budget drama actor. The second they arrive, they find Ram holding JJ like a literal championship trophy, and a massive street fight instantly explodes with reinforcements spawning from both sides like they're handing out free concert tickets. Kiefer fights like a literal psycho to reach her, but he gets intercepted and brutally attacked. Ram mocks him, calling him weak, which forces JJ into pure tears. Kiefer tries to calm her down even while he's literally stumbling, but Ram's cringe, cruel taunts finally cause JJ to explode. Furious, she activates ultimate main character plot armor, breaks free, and smashes a heavy object straight over his head. Ram claps back with a slap, but something inside JJ completely shatters. She dominates him and beats him ruthlessly until he hits the dirt. Once the danger is neutralized, Kiefer wraps her in his arms, dries her tears, and kisses her forehead. In a soft voice, he teases her, "I get jealous easily," leaving his feelings serving maximum clarity. When the rest of the entourage spawns, Yuri gives a literal thunderstorm face at the sight of their slow burn intimacy. They rush JJ to the hospital, where Kiefer strictly refuses to leave her side, anxiously waiting for her to wake up. Angelo appears and drags Kiefer away for a private, serious corporate talk. Meanwhile, Aries sits right next to JJ, waiting for her main character energy to reboot. The exact second he touches her forehead, she moves. However, the absolute first person she demands to see is Kiefer. He enters the classroom just as Angelo evicts Aries outside for a conversation. Inside the room, the guys crowd around JJ, completely relieved that her plot armor ate. Sin, always serving peak cringe drama queen, cries and clings to her, but she simply rolls her eyes and orders him to stop the madness. Aside, Angelo drags Aries for sitting on his hands while she got literally kidnapped, pointing out that Kiefer, the one who actually activated hero plot armor, isn't even family. Before bouncing, Angelo orders Kiefer to protect her well. In an iconic plot twist, JJ's alleged aunt, who is actually Aries' mom, spawns out of nowhere. She tries to hug Aries, but he serves ice-cold red flags and rejects her, asking why she returned after ghosting them for years. She drops the tea, revealing she came to see JJ and announce her upcoming marriage. Aries mocks her. "Another one? How many more men do you need to try out?" She asks if he finally told JJ the truth about the toxic family secret. His expression goes dark as he admits he's waiting for the right second. Clearly, that hidden lore is a literal ticking time bomb. The next day, JJ arrives at school looking totally drained, but her chaotic squad refuses to let her main character energy sink. They bring her a cute dessert to cheer her up, and she smiles until she realizes her hands are way too sore from the unhinged brawl to even eat. Yuri, always the opportunistic second lead, offers a massage and stays there holding them for a suspicious amount of time. He even drops a cringe joke. "You know, my hands hurt too," strictly refusing to let go. The guys start scripting the festival plans again, suggesting JJ and CN partner up for the iconic cross-dressing pageant. Learning they used to be in a band, JJ proposes a reunion for the singing competition. Just then, Kiefer spawns into the room and strictly loathes the view. Yuri is still holding JJ's hands. Serving pure toxic jealousy, he orders, "JJ, come with me. I need a word." Yuri looks completely heartbroken, knowing exactly what's up. He drags her to a hidden music room packed with photos, memories, and corporate wealth trophies. JJ is completely fascinated until she spots a photo of Angelo. Kiefer drops the lore, explaining he was once the legendary Section A leader of their section. He asks if she wants to add her own photo now that she's officially serving Section E energy. He laughs, and JJ's heart does a little slow burn skip. She just stares at him for a second before dropping a clumsy thank you. Back in class, absolute chaos explodes when the guys throw JJ a welcome back party that converts the classroom into a low-budget club. Yuri starts singing like he's performing a private concert, while the others wrap themselves in belts and dance like literal maniacs. The most unhinged part is that despite the cringe, they still look like drama icons. JJ cannot contain her laughter, especially when CN starts his personal show. The ultimate main character moment arrives when Kiefer throws off his jacket and starts dancing while staring directly into her eyes, acting like she's his only spectator. JJ, completely flustered and nervous, drops the line, "You guys definitely have a future as backup dancers." The squad finally divides the festival tasks into singing, cleaning, and dancing scripts. JJ enters a Delulu state wondering how CN will handle entering every single contest, but the guys assure her that his plot armor 8 and he will be totally fine. They start pressing Yuri to enter the singing competition since he has the absolute best voice, and he claims he'll process the thought. Finally, they trap her in a corner, dropping the ultimate unhinged question about who she's going home with, Yuri or Kiefer. JJ, serving zero interest in fueling their toxic rivalry, uses peak Zen wisdom and decides to bounce completely alone. The next day, JJ stops at a convenience store for ice cream when a random man calls her name from behind. He acts like he knows her intimately, but she has zero clues who he is and is left looking totally confused. The man drops the shocking truth lore. He was once married to her mom and was, in essence, her actual stepfather. He grabs her hand and offers a sincere apology for treating her like complete trash during her childhood. He admits that after ghosting her mom and starting another family, he was consumed by crushing guilt for years. The real plot twist is that JJ's brain completely blocked it out for the plot, and she has zero memory of him. Shocked and overwhelmed by this sudden backstory revelation, she breaks free from his hand and sprints away like an Olympic runner. Since this city has the smallest map ever, Yuri pulls up at that exact second in his ridiculously expensive luxury car. He stops instantly upon seeing her distressed energy and wraps her in a deep embrace, trying to calm her down. She confesses there are massive pieces of her past that she simply cannot remember. Yuri comforts her, saying that forgetting painful memories might actually be a literal blessing for the soul. JJ steps back for a second to dry her tears and clocks the handkerchief she's holding. It's the exact one Kiefer gave her when she got kidnapped. Despite all the trauma, that slow burn instant with him is still serving fresh in her memory. Deep down, she knows why. Her feelings for Kiefer are growing like a literal weed. While she gets lost in those Delulu thoughts, she looks up and sees Yuri's bright red hair right in front of her face. She realizes she is actively ignoring the blessing standing right ahead of her, while accidentally drawing closer to Kiefer like a magnet to metal, pulling further away from Yuri's second lead energy. JJ arrives at the school festival packed with excitement, cheering louder than anyone else in the crowd. She enjoys the vibe immensely until David and Calix spawn to trigger her, attempting to rob her food. She drags them, reminding them they are serving pure corporate wealth and are rich enough to buy their own snacks. They quickly bounce to handle other tasks, leaving JJ completely alone, feeling like the classic single main character surrounded by couples. To fix her mood, she buys more ice cream and spots a festival game she wants to play. Meanwhile, Kiefer is recording her like a literal filmmaker, which presses her at first, but then he notices how badly she wants a teddy bear prize. Kiefer tries to win it to impress his girl, but fails embarrassingly. To compensate for the cringe loss, he makes a solemn promise. He will win the upcoming music competition strictly for her. That night, JJ and Kiefer share a festival security shift at the school. She hums her favorite song to pass the time, but when he interrogates her about her mom, her main character energy shifts instantly because she strictly refuses to talk about that part of her life. Kiefer, on the flip side, opens up about his own family lore with total natural taste. Suddenly, a classmate appears stumbling through the dark and starts acting super sketchy. They approach to help him, but notice a creepy doll placed nearby, which triggers them to scream and sprint away like they've seen a literal ghost. Even Kiefer, who always flexes his fake bravery, flees in terror like a toddler on Halloween. The next day, the school competes in an intense basketball match against a rival team. To start, their team is severely suffering and falling behind in points. JJ, sitting comfortably between Yuri and Kiefer, drops a joke about how lucky she is to be serving main character energy, surrounded by handsome guys on both sides. When a foul is called, their team secures the chance for a massive comeback. JJ clocks that Felix is anxious to play and gaslights the coach into putting him on the court. In the literal last seconds, he sinks the winning shot. The entire team celebrates like they just won the NBA Finals, lifting him on their shoulders, while JJ enjoys the moment with her muscular Lucky Charms. Kiefer and Yuri. Later, in the classroom, the guys are practicing their cringe dance moves for an upcoming performance. Sin is visibly nervous, but the exact second Raki spawns, he gets filled with confidence and asks her out. JJ watches them bounce, feeling that painful pinch of being single yet again. Just then, her toxic ex-boyfriend Cyrus texts her begging for a favor, but she leaves him on read like literal spam. Meanwhile, Felix offers a genuine thank you for convincing the coach and invites her to a secret after-party thrown by the basketball captain. The next day, the iconic dance competition officially kicks off. Team from another section drops an impressive performance on stage. However, the festival host Freya only cheers for them because they are her rich Section A peers. Then, when she uncovers that Section E's team name is literally JJ's Warriors, she starts openly dragging them, leaving JJ completely embarrassed and dying of cringe. Turns out Kiefer and Cien were the unhinged masterminds who chose that name together. JJ is left speechless, but with the squad already on stage, she has zero choices but to accept the narrative. To everyone's absolute surprise, the performance is a total success. Crowd claps with unhinged enthusiasm, and although Freya strictly refuses to acknowledge it, their flawless execution makes it clear they ate and were the absolute best of the day. The singing competition starts with Raki, who stuns the entire crowd with her beautiful, soulful vocals. JJ is trapped in the crowd, literally holding hands with Denzel and another random guy, serving her usual routine of being sandwiched between two men for the plot. The second Raki finishes, JJ goes on a mission to locate Cien, completely pressed because he ghosted his girlfriend right after her performance. Soon it's Kiefer's turn on stage, and he leaves JJ entirely speechless by singing her absolute favorite song, the exact one she dropped in his lore days ago. While she listens, flashbacks of their slow burn history flood her brain, and she triggers an impactful revelation. She actually likes this toxic man. Kiefer's performance is pure perfection, securing the judges and the entire audience like a professional drama lead with maximum plot armor. Afterward, Yuri casually drops the tea that Kiefer picked that exact song specifically for her main character energy. When Kiefer spawns into the scene, he's wearing a confident smirk and demands proper compensation, teasing her while she blushes and stammers out a shy thank you. Overwhelmed by pure cringe embarrassment, she invents a low-budget excuse and sprints away. That night, during her security shift with Yuri, JJ confesses she is struggling with deep Delulu feelings for someone who left her with major emotional scars in the past. Yuri drops some slow burn wisdom, telling her the heart strictly refuses to stop catching feelings. She playfully calls him a romance expert and asks if he's currently in love. He admits he is, but explains the girl has absolutely zero clues about his existence. JJ, serving total blunt energy, tells him he should honestly move on, but Yuri strictly refuses, declaring that she is too special. And it is crystal clear to the entire audience who that special girl actually is. The next day, Cien preps for the pageant dressed as a girl, triggering unhinged, deafening laughter from the entire class. Meanwhile, JJ, cross-dressed as a guy for the mandatory festival script, receives a text from Cyrus's mom. Kiefer, acting like the nosy red flag he is, snatches her phone but at least respects her privacy enough to let her reply. Absolute disaster strikes right before Yuri's competition when someone loses his background track. Freya visibly enjoys their misery, but Yuri's entourage saves the plot by handing him an acoustic guitar. Yuri absolutely ate, serving a romantic performance that makes background couples hug like they're in a Hallmark movie. Kiefer leans over and whispers to JJ that Yuri is singing directly to the girl he loves. Completely shocked and overwhelmed by the realization, she bounces, leaving Yuri looking totally heartbroken on stage. Side, JJ locates Denzel's ex-girlfriend crying tears of pure tragedy. She uncovers the lore that even though Denzel is financially supporting her for the baby's sake, he strictly refuses to resume their relationship even though she's still completely in love with him. Incapable of minding her own business, JJ confronts him right in front of the squad, demanding to know why he's serving pure ice-cold distance. Denzel, getting emotional, confesses he is convinced she will never forgive his past red flags. But his ex eavesdrops, inserts herself into the script, and reassures him that she loves him and will instantly forgive him if he returns. They pull off a wholesome reconciliation so tender that everyone feels the love story in their bones. JJ, lost in her own emotional plotline, finally texts Cyrus's mom back and decides to visit Cyrus in the hospital bed. The second his eyes open, the absolute first thing he asks for is her, but JJ's brain completely blocked out what went down between them. When he desperately grabs her hand and begs her to stay, she enters pure panic mode and flees. Cyrus's sister chases her down and accuses her of being the sole source of his literal suffering, leaving her feeling maximum guilt and confusion. Back at school, Cian is completely furious because JJ ghosted his competition, and Kiefer drags her for ignoring his million missed calls. Overwhelmed by the unhinged pressure, JJ explodes, screaming that she can't be everyone's savior 24/7. She locks herself in a room, completely emotionally drained. But Yuri, serving peak second lead golden retriever energy, refuses to leave her alone in her misery. He sits right next to her and patiently teaches her how to play the guitar. While they are that physically close, the tension becomes completely palpable. JJ gets entirely lost in his eyes, and Yuri leans directly toward her. The slow burn moment is intense and everything is pointing straight toward a kiss. But right then Kiefer spawns in the doorway holding a corporate wealth trophy. His team won the best band prize, and he was about to deliver it to JJ just as he solemnly promised. But now he is frozen like a literal chicken in a freezer, his gaze locked onto the intimate scene. JJ enters instant panic mode, feeling like she's emotionally cheating on Kiefer for the plot. Torn between Yuri's golden retriever energy and Kiefer's red flags, she snatches her bag and flees the room like an Olympic runner. Meanwhile, Yuri and Kiefer exchange ice-cold, unhinged looks. A total storm is brewing, and this toxic triangle is about to explode. Later, JJ finds herself in a sketchy location, completely disorientada and with zero clues how she even arrived there. Fragmented, confusing memories start to spawn in her brain. She remembers Kiko, acting like an absolute loser, getting way too close to her. The flashback shakes her main character energy, especially when she feels her blood boil with pure anger. Fear invades her as she wonders if her memory is a literal truth or just a Delulu narrative. She grabs her head tightly, pulling her hair in total frustration while trying to extract more lore. Then, everything starts rushing back into her mind like a poorly edited drama. After Yuri got too close and Kiefer caught them together, JJ sprinted away in panic as if she had seen a ghost. The next day, she ended up tagging along with Felix to the party they had scripted. Felix was serving pure happy energy, offering a genuine thank you because her plot armor got him back on the basketball court. But the literal second they arrived, both clocked that the vibe was super sketchy. The background characters looked weird and their behavior was even more unhinged. Out of nowhere, Kiko appeared, welcoming them as if he owned the place. They uncover the deeply unsettling tea. He wasn't a guest, he was the actual homeowner and the host of the entire cringe party. Kiko was already visibly wasted, barely controlling himself when they walked in. The scene was wild, chaotic, and loud like a low-budget club with zero rules. JJ tried to communicate with someone, but she looked like a total idiot in the middle of that messy crowd. Kiko snatched a microphone and started thanking Felix, declaring he was the sole reason for the recent victory. The room exploded in cheers, and everyone crowded around him to celebrate and take photos for social media. Meanwhile, JJ was completely starving. She hunted for food and finally located some. Noticing a couple being super affectionate, she dropped a line with pure main character audacity, telling them, "Just pretend I'm not here," before robbing their plate and sprinting away. Moving through the party, she spotted Michaela with a sketchy-looking man. Furious, she launched herself into the scene and confronted her. "You literal traitor! If Calix finds out, do you even know what he will do to you?" The man turned around, and to her absolute surprise, it was Calix cross-dressed with a fake mustache and dirty clothes. He explains he had to sneak in like that because the administration strictly banned them from attending the party. He knows that if Kiefer uncovers this narrative, he will never let it slide. Plus, he strictly loathes Kiko's red flags. He advises JJ to stay for exactly 30 more minutes, then grab Felix and bounce before the entire scene gets completely unhinged. She accepted, handed her food over to Michaela, and went straight to the restroom. Leaving the bathroom, she spotted a sketchy, unpleasant guy trying to get way too physically close to her. Before her main character energy could even react, Kiko intervened and stopped him. "Don't change the script," he told her softly. Then he started talking to her in a friendly way, until she accidentally took a sip of the drink he handed her. Suddenly, the whole room started spinning. Downstairs, she located Felix completely destroyed on the floor, beaten up and barely conscious. "They played us," he muttered weakly. "Everything was a literal trap. You have to run." But before he could finish the warning, JJ's vision blurred and she collapsed like a sack of potatoes. She wakes up in the present, unable to extract more lore, completely frustrated and scared. She decides to exit the house, noticing that everything is strangely organized, serving 0 people and 0 noise. Then someone approaches from behind and triggers a jump scare. She spins around and sees a guy who looks super familiar, like he's related to Kiefer. "You should see his younger brother," he says, explaining that Calix and his friend are outside chilling by the pool. He suggests she head out to check on them. Walking outside, she spots everyone sitting around enjoying life, except Felix, who looks completely broken from last night's brutal brawl. JJ sprints over to check his vitals, and he tells her that the squad actually activated their plot armor and saved them. Right behind her, Yuri and Kiefer spawn into the scene. Kiefer, crossing his arms and serving pure toxic CEO coldness, interrogates her. "Why did you even go to that party last night?" "I have 0 memory," she admits with complete honesty. "How did you guys even locate us?" Kiefer claps back. "Calix sent a text." Then Yuri says, "He couldn't find you and was completely pressed. He has a total soft heart underneath those red flags. So he assembled his men and came straight for you." Suddenly, JJ's main character anger explodes. "Alright, which one of you losers changed my clothes? And did you look at me?" Kiefer smirks with pure mischief. "Relax, we didn't see anything special." He strictly refuses to drop any more lore. Clearly amused by her nervous cringe reaction, she is left totally trapped between these handsome troublemakers, not knowing which one to blast with her side eye. The guys step back and start spilling all the tea about what went down last night. When they arrived at the party, they searched everywhere for JJ, but she had completely vanished from the map. Then Aries spawned and realized she was missing. He interrogated Felix, who confessed that Kiko had dragged her away, but nobody knew the exact location except his inner circle. Aries didn't hesitate. He activated pure gatekeeping energy and threatened them until they dropped the location coordinates. Then he ordered the rest of the squad to stay back because what was coming next would be a total bloodbath. While some guys evacuated Felix, the others started beating Kiko's entourage until they hit the dirt. When Yuri and Kiefer finished their brawl, they sprinted upstairs and found Aries already there, holding Kiko by the throat and punching him without mercy. "That absolute trash was trying to harm JJ," Aries growled. He reassured the others that JJ was safe and went inside to change her clothes himself. After all, they are family. When they finally checked on her, they felt a massive wave of relief that her plot armor ate and she was completely uninjured. After all the unhinged chaos, Aries advised them to evacuate her immediately before the situation developed even more toxic red flags. Kiefer, activating peak dramatic savior mode, carried her all the way to his house, and that is exactly how her main character energy ended up there. Now, in the present, CN helps her out. Yuri smirks with absolute mischief and starts dragging Kiefer, trying to trigger him. "You love her, don't you?" Kiefer just rolls his eyes and mutters, "You're a literal idiot." Yuri insists, accusing him of being way too Delulu and cowardly to admit his feelings. He even suggests he drop JJ from his future scripts before everything gets dangerous. But Kiefer, stubborn as always, strictly refuses to acknowledge a single thing. "I don't love her," he firmly declares. "I'm sticking to my plan." Of course, his hand grips his glass so hard it literally shatters, completely exposing his internal torment for the plot. Yuri stays dead silent for a moment, getting lost in a slow burn flashback from when he was on security shift with JJ. She had interrogated him directly, asking if he loved her or had feelings for her. He sighed and responded, "I can't lie to you, but I can't confess anything either, and I'm strictly not going to deny it. I just don't want to lose you." JJ was left completely speechless, wondering if they were going to keep dancing around the truth forever, but ultimately decided to let the narrative slide. Now, in the present, Kiefer is serving pure bad mood energy because instead of giving him attention, JJ is too busy worrying about Felix. Felix, feeling massive guilt, offers a sincere apology for dragging her to that cringe party and causing so many problems. JJ, with her classic textbook heart of gold, forgives him instantly. Just then, Kiefer's younger brother summons them for breakfast. Everyone bounces inside except Felix, who stays seated waiting for the doctor. "You honestly look like a literal disaster," someone mutters while passing by. Before entering, JJ asks Yuri how Kiefer actually injured his hand. He explains that Kiefer got triggered and smashed a glass. Then he drops a warning for her to stay far away from Kiefer's younger brother, claiming he serves even worse energy than Kiefer. JJ, in her mind, mocks the entire narrative. Absolutely nobody can possess more red flags than that absolute loser Kiefer. Right before dinner, JJ is stunned by the arrival of a little kid who turns out to be Kiefer's youngest brother. He is incredibly cunning and observant, and he instantly drags Kiefer, dropping the line, "Well, you brought your girlfriend." Turns out the kid is just as unhinged as his older brothers, considering his script dictates he is already dating Yuri's younger sister. Naturally, everyone starts making fun of the kid, asking if it's not way too early for that romance narrative. JJ gets super anxious, wanting to bounce fast because she knows her family must be completely pressed. Kiefer calms her down, stating they already know her exact coordinates. Trying to lighten the vibe, Yuri hands a phone to the younger brother and jokes, "Call my sister, she loves you." Then he turns to the rest of the squad and calls them a bunch of shameless losers for helping the kids gatekeep their secret slow burn romance. The next day at school, it's the absolute last class of the semester before vacation, and the students are receiving a special send-off. Classmates, especially JJ, are serving peak good mood energy. She interrogates CN, asking if he actually managed to secure the maximum score on the exams, and he responds with total indifference, asking why he should even care about the script. JJ calls him a literal loser and claims there is absolutely zero chance he got a perfect score, so they lock in a deal. If his plot armor ate and he succeeded, she has to treat him to dinner and pay the bill. CN accepts the narrative, and JJ ups the ante, declaring she will dye her hair if he wins. He drops a quick reality check, reminding her that dyeing your hair is strictly banned by the school's unhinged rules. Oh really? Then how does Yuri get away with his life choices? She claps back. CN reveals the shocking truth lore. Red is actually Yuri's natural hair color. JJ is left completely stunned. CN then scripts another wager. "If I got the top grade, you have to pick your absolute favorite among the squad and kiss him right in front of everyone." JJ accepts the terms, completely blind to the fact that she just walked into another monumental cringe mess. That night, JJ attends a costume party for kids, and CN, who never stopped serving toddler energy at heart, has a blast playing with them. At one point, JJ spots a guy who looks exactly like Kiefer's younger brother. Confused, she leaves him on read, until she spins around and sees the actual brother standing right behind her. "What are you even doing here?" Kid interrogates. JJ jokes with him, but he drops some ice-cold red flags, reminding her they are strictly not friends. Right after, he snatches the candy straight out of her hands just as Kiefer spawns into the scene. "Fill your pockets already. Did I not educate you better?" Kiefer provokes. The younger brother responds with pure venom. "You didn't raise me at all." JJ thinks to herself that they should honestly gatekeep the toxic family drama for the house. Eventually, Kiefer's brother bounces and CN returns, flexing the fact that he literally robbed candy from a little girl. Of course, this triggers immediate problems when the girl's dad spawns to confront them, but the situation gets incredibly weird when the man starts flirting with JJ and trying to secure a date with her main character energy. Kiefer intervenes, snapping his fingers and demanding respect like a textbook cold CEO. "Do you not see me standing right here?" The man mocks him, asking if Kiefer is her dad or something. Kiefer smirks and delivers the iconic line, "Worse, I'm her husband." The guy is so utterly shocked by the Delulu declaration that he flees the map instantly, completely forgetting why he was even pressed. JJ grabs her chest in absolute shock, wondering if her ears just hallucinated the script. Kiefer informs her that Kiko was officially expelled from school for all the unhinged chaos he caused. "I warned you to stay far away from his red flags," he adds with firm authority. "And from now on, I'm your husband, so you strictly have to listen to me." JJ is left entirely speechless, wondering what alternate dimension this toxic husband speech even crawled out of. Kiefer offers to take her to a slower burn, quieter spot away from the festival noise. Later, when they return to the main area, he tells her to wait a second while he secures a drink for his girl. Suddenly, a sketchy guy tries to get way too physically close to her, but before his red flags can even touch her, a man with piercing blue eyes spawns into the scene and shoves him away like a low-budget movie superhero. When he introduces himself, JJ's jaw drops as she uncovers that they literally share the exact same surname. He smirks and drops the line, "I know you must have a million questions, but gatekeep them for later." He demands her phone number before bouncing. Kiefer returns and delivers the drink to his girl, and they sit together to watch the festival performances. One of the background girls in the crowd strictly refuses to tear her eyes away from Kiefer, triggering a sudden flash of unhinged jealousy in JJ, though she maintains her main character energy and refuses to show it. Meanwhile, Cian is out here shamelessly flirting with other girls for the plot. JJ thinks to herself that if Raki were present, she would have dragged him by the neck. Utterly irritated by the entire cringe scene, she shoves Kiefer and tells him that if he wants to dance, he should just go do it since he clearly craves the attention. Before he can even answer, one of the girls literally drags him onto the dance floor. JJ huffs, left standing on the side looking like an absolute jealous disaster. She attempts to dance alone, but it's a complete mess, serving more of an unhinged seizure vibe than actual dancing. For Kiefer, however, it is the most hilarious thing in the world. He approaches her with a smirk and suggests she's better off dancing with him. Just as they start catching a rhythm on the floor, the script changes and a slow burn track for couples starts playing. Deepening, Kiefer leans in and asks with the ultimate cold CEO voice, "May I have this dance?" JJ hesitates for a second but ultimately nods. As they move together, she places her hands on his shoulders and suddenly triggers a shocking realization. She has probably loved this toxic man for a monumental amount of time. He places his hand on her waist, drawing her physically close, and the tension intensifies. JJ gets entirely lost in the music and ends up resting her head against his shoulder. Then, out of nowhere, Kiefer gently lifts her chin and delivers an iconic kiss on her forehead. In that exact second, JJ finally admits to herself, "I love him." Kiefer draws closer, enjoying the pure warmth radiating from her. The two just stay there, dancing to the slow song like they're the absolute leads of a romantic drama. JJ enjoys the moment with her improvised prince, recording the night in her memory as one of the absolute best of her life. JJ finally heads home, and that kicks off the classic clueless teens in love phase where both she and Kiefer get totally flustered over a single word. They even invent low-budget excuses to stay standing together for the longest time possible. When he finally tells her good night, she simply responds, "You too." And his tough guy energy starts melting like ice cream under the sun. He leans in even further and drops another kiss on her forehead, which makes JJ completely lose her mind like a toddler with a shiny new toy. After he leaves, JJ is left deeply confused by her tangled Delulu emotions. As Kiefer walks away, Aries spawns outside and screams at her for arriving so late. She claps back with pure fury. "You are strictly not my dad, so don't even talk to me like that." He completely ignores the comment and just orders her to get inside, but she gets even more pressed because to this literal day, she still has zero clues who her actual father is. When she finally enters her room, she finds a new text from Kiefer asking how she's doing. She instantly starts jumping on the bed with unhinged happiness and replies by thanking him and wishing him sweet dreams. A couple of seconds later, she activates her serious face again and tells herself to get a grip, wondering why she's getting so soft when that is strictly not her style. Then she receives another text, this time from Yuri, who asks if she has already scripted her vacation plans. She completely leaves him on read and doesn't even answer his second lead energy. A bit later, she receives a third message, feeling like her entire life has converted into a literal television drama. The mysterious message informs her that they absolutely have to meet on Monday. She interrogates them, asking why, and JJ is left in pure shock when the mysterious man texts back claiming he has vital lore about her family and her lost brother. Poor girl is left more confused than ever, as if her life were a puzzle serving zero actual pieces. The next day she returns to school, and the vibe is so tense it feels like a stadium championship. The exam results are about to be published in the hallways. It's total chaos, with background students from every section shoving and screaming to view the boards. Suddenly, a classmate named Andrew approaches her serving pure victim face, begging to borrow money. To ensure her plot armor delivers the cash, he starts shamelessly flattering her. And the worst part is it totally works. JJ agrees to bring the money the next day. She tells him she first needs to check her own results, but the crowd is serving such messy energy that she can't get close. Classmate, acting highly confident, screams at everyone to clear out and let her pass. Seems the Section E guys have a top section talent for acting like handsome drama leads when they want to because the others quickly obey. JJ celebrates because she passed with a respectable 84.5, but her joy is dead short. She remembers the Delulu wager with CN, and there comes the cringe blow. She uncovers that he is the only student in the entire department who secured a perfect 100. CN spawns right behind her, grabs her and drops the line, "I won!" Her jaw hits the floor, and she interrogates him on how a literal slacker could accomplish this. CN explains that he is actually a hidden genius who only blocks out when he has zero motivation, but when he locks into a goal, he always secures the win. Serving pure serious energy, he reminds her not to forget the bet and bounces with a literal villain smirk. Shortly after, Yuri spawns, visibly pressed, asking why she completely ghosted his text. Since she has zero logical answers, JJ does what her main character energy does best. Flees. She sprints to the classroom and crashes straight into Kiefer. She snatches her bag and tries to escape, still completely uncomfortable over the slow burn romantic moment from last night, but his red flags stop her. Before he can drop any lore, she aggressively shuts him down so absolutely nobody finds out what went down. Spotting Cien, she uses him as a quick excuse and goes over to speak with him. They converse in low voices with maximum discretion, but it's completely useless. The entire classroom is tracking them, listening like they're tuned into a toxic radio show. Then, Cien, using his usual loud mouth, leaks the absolute details of the wager to the whole room. JJ strictly has to kiss someone today. The guys get completely hyped like they're about to win the literal literal lottery, each one prepping their faces to be the chosen one. JJ screams in pure frustration, deeply worried about her social reputation, and slaps Cien for causing this massive amount of unwanted spotlight. The boys decide that whoever gets picked will have to catch these hands from the rest of the squad afterward. Each one tries to flex, standing around like they're serving a "Are we not good enough for you?" look. Kiefer finally shuts down the madness, stating JJ will pick whoever she wants and absolutely nobody should press her. The most Delulu hyped is Yuri, especially when JJ starts walking straight toward him. Kiefer clocks this and activates instant toxic jealousy, but then she stuns the entire room. She walks right past him and heads toward David, who is literally asleep and completely evicted from the drama. She drops a kiss on his cheek and whispers that she'll explain the lore later. Immediately, the entourage surrounds poor sleeping David and gives him a celebratory beating for being chosen. Suddenly, JJ receives a text from the mysterious man, whose name drops as Percy, begging to meet at the mall that exact day and, like a cringe secret mission, orders her to gatekeep it from everyone. She sprints to the coordinates, but the second she arrives, he calls to state he can't see her because she broke the agreement by bringing background company. Percy insists he needs maximum privacy and drops a warning that all the guys are tracking her every single move. JJ seizes the second to interrogate him about whether he's Felix's brother. Percy confirms the narrative. Her jaw hits the floor because everyone scripts him as literally deceased. Percy claims it's a long, slow burn backstory he'll spill in person. JJ, with her heart in her throat, asks directly, "Are you my brother?" Percy replies with a cryptic text, "Your brother has been right by your side this entire time, but you haven't realized it." Hearing this, JJ bursts into tears, completely overwhelmed by her emotions. The guys instantly spawn into the scene, demanding to know who she's texting and who made their girl cry, swearing they will locate him and make him pay. She screams at them to mind their own business and stop their unhinged spying. She explains she was there to meet Percy, but he ghosted because of their toxic interference. The exact second they hear the name Percy, everyone freezes like they've seen a literal ghost. Back at the house, the guys pull out old iconic photos. Felix points at one and JJ confirms, "Yes, that's Percy." Becomes crystal clear the boys have been gatekeeping a massive secret, and they finally agree to spill the whole narrative. It is revealed that in the past, there was a deeply tight-knit group made of Yuri, Kiefer, Aries, and Percy. One day, Percy decided they should all go out driving. They were serving pure nervous energy because absolutely nobody possessed real driving skills. After chilling for a bit, Aries wanted to bounce fast because they hijacked Angelo's car without permission, but Percy insisted on staying for a little more cringe plot development. On the drive back, they triggered a massive argument and suddenly suffered a severe car crash. Yuri and Kiefer managed to activate their survival skills and jump out of the vehicle in time, while the others were literally thrown out. They managed to deploy plot armor and save Aries, but Percy completely vanished from the map. For years, they scripted him as deceased in the accident. Now they harbor unhinged suspicions that Percy has returned to seek toxic revenge on Aries for what went down that day. They believe that is exactly why he is trying to draw close to JJ, likely planning to use her main character energy as a pawn in his game. They beg her to stay far away from his red flags for her own safety. Either way, they promise to protect her and swear that absolutely nobody will hurt their girl. Felix screams, defending Percy's narrative, but JJ serves pure empathy and calms him down, reassuring him that if Percy texts her again, she will leak the coordinates. When she finally returns home, she is serving pure anxious energy and overanalyzes every single piece of lore until Percy calls her phone. She tells him she already uncovered the truth and asks directly if he is using her to get toxic revenge on Aries. Percy swears he is a literal nice guy who would never do that and promises she will soon uncover the entire backstory. JJ spends the whole night stressing and the next day falls asleep in class like a bear in deep hibernation. Kiefer, seizing the slow burn opportunity, takes a photo of her and laughs like he's at a literal circus. Suddenly, her main character energy reboots, and she catches him red-handed, initiating an unhinged chase all over the classroom to retrieve the phone. Since Kiefer is a literal skyscraper, she can't reach him easily. He dodges her attempts while the rest of the squad dies of laughter except Yuri, who turns green with pure second-lead jealousy. Finally, JJ manages to snatch the phone and delete the evidence, but uncovers that he has even more photos of her gate-kept in his gallery. She gets completely furious, so she grabs her bag and sits right next to Yuri. Kiefer, strictly refusing to lose the plot, drops the line, "I'm always behind you," and sits right next to her too, making it crystal clear he has zero intentions of letting her escape. They end up playing a cringe game of musical chairs until the teacher spawns, leaving her completely trapped in the middle. though she still shoves her chair toward Yuri, who seizes the second to draw physically closer. Of course, Kiefer edges closer too, leaving them packed like sardines in a tin. When class kicks off, the teacher drops some lore about a specific university and all the background students get hyped. JJ is completely lost until Yuri explains that the school is organizing a campus tour so the students can check out the place before enrolling. Whoever wants to go must submit a form, so JJ secures one. Kiefer is fast asleep, so she literally throws the paper into his hand. Yuri tells her to seize the opportunity to execute a low-budget revenge plot while he is unconscious. He hands her a pen and JJ, staring at Kiefer, whispers, "God made you way too handsome, so you totally deserve this." She draws a hideous mustache straight onto his face. The entire classroom explodes in unhinged laughter, but the second his eyes open, everyone goes dead silent. He interrogates JJ, asking if she did something, and she uses her plot armor to lie shamelessly. Absolutely not. When he spots his clown face in the phone camera, he drops the line, "I'm going to catch you." Yuri, pretending to serve pure golden retriever energy, actually gaslights her and holds her down so Kiefer can draw on her face too. She gets completely triggered when she realizes Yuri didn't defend her, and Kiefer paints a ridiculous mustache on her face as pure cringe vengeance before bouncing to draw on the rest of the students who strictly cannot stop laughing. Later, JJ locates Andrew and delivers the cash. When she interrogates him about why he even needs it, he claims it's a literal emergency and swears he will return it because he isn't a thief. She claps back with pure skepticism. We'll see. Arriving home, she is shocked to find several classmates spawning in her house, including Michaela and Ella. Freya starts deploying her usual cringe teasing until Aries intervenes and screams, activating his gatekeeping skills to defend JJ. Ella, serving pure angel energy, invites JJ to eat with them. JJ, hitting a sudden wave of toxic jealousy toward Ella, strictly refuses and claims she is full. But the literal second she turns around, she sprints straight to the dining table because a plate of candy is waiting for her. While eating, she cannot stop staring at Ella, thinking about how beautiful she is without fillers or Botox. She concludes Ella is stunning even when she cries and finally uncovers why all the boys are totally crazy for her. JJ feels her main character energy could never compete with that narrative and convinces herself that Kiefer no longer loves her, believing there is absolutely zero chance he moved on so fast. She is so deeply hurt that she starts crying right when the maid enters and asks if the food tastes bad. JJ tries to cover it up like a dramatic theater actress, sobbing, "No, I'm crying because it's delicious." The next day at school, JJ bumps into Cien, who asks if she already submitted her form for the university tour. She tells him not yet, but just then receives a call from an unknown number. Thinking it's Percy, and knowing Cien is the official unhinged gossip king who would sell her secret for a piece of bubblegum, she steps away to answer in private. Turns out it's Andrew. Now he claims he's in an even bigger mess and needs more cash. When she asks for his coordinates, he responds, "Kingsland." Yuri happens to pass by right then, and hearing that specific name, he freezes like a literal statue. The shock intensifies when he realizes JJ is planning to go to that dangerous location completely alone. He insists on going in her place to protect her, but she strictly refuses. "Nope, I'm going with you." Upon reaching the entrance, the guard immediately recognizes Yuri, making it crystal clear that this sketchy place holds dark secrets from his past lore. They are forced to hand over their cell phones before entering. Inside, they meet a man wearing a ridiculous outfit nicknamed Tiger, the actual owner of the place. Shocked to see Yuri after such a long time, he drops the line, "Good thing you brought your girlfriend so she can see how this goes down." He starts chatting with her, but JJ is completely terrified, clinging to Yuri's arm like he's her literal lifesaver. Soon they uncover the harsh reality. It's an unhinged illegal gambling den where people who can't pay their debts are forced to fight in brutal brawls. Yuri asks about his friend's debt to pay it off and bounce, but Tiger strictly refuses. "You know the rules. If you want to take him, you have to fight in his place." JJ begs him not to do it, but Yuri activates his slow burn savior plot armor and insists on fighting. He orders Andrew to take JJ away to keep her safe. She follows him, and Tiger leads them straight to a VIP area packed with food. While Andrew stuffs his face like there is no tomorrow, JJ is serving way too much anxious energy to even eat. She declares, "I can't touch a single bite until I know his plot armor holds up." Tiger, being a total cringe creep, attempts to flirt with her, but she rejects his red flags until he drops the lore that he is an old friend of her cousin's and also knows Kiefer. Intrigued by the sudden backstory, JJ starts eating and commands, "Spill the tea." He reveals that Kiefer and the squad used to haunt this unhinged place until he and Yuri triggered a violent brawl over a girl and ghosted the map forever. Andrew embarrasses her by pointing out she isn't just hungry, she's actually dead scared for Yuri. Realizing Realizing he is probably inside the ring at this exact second, she sprints to locate him. Meanwhile, Kiefer is sitting with his inner circle surrounded by food he gate-kept strictly for JJ. When he tries to call her and clocks that her phone is completely off, he turns tense like a guitar string. His friends notice his pure panic energy and interrogate him about why he cares so much, causing him to scream at them to cover his tracking. He demands they extract her coordinates, and upon hacking her phone, he completely freezes to discover she is with Tiger at King's Land. Back in the den, Yuri is already inside the ring. The script reveals that his first fight here was actually against Kiefer over a girl. Back then, Yuri held back his skills and lost on purpose to let him win the narrative. But this time, he strictly refuses to hold back. Motivated by his desire to protect JJ's main character energy, he wins the match with a single iconic decisive move, proving he is a literal fighting machine. Afterward, he goes straight to JJ, who is an absolute emotional disaster. In her frustration, she starts hitting Andrew for causing all this toxic drama. Yuri shoves him away by throwing his shirt at his face, stating they need a corporate talk later, before wrapping JJ in a deep embrace. He calms her down, reassuring her that he's totally fine, and solemnly promises he will never fight for her again. He confirms the lore Tiger spilled, admitting he no longer loves the girl from his past. Just as they are about to bounce, Tiger stops them, announcing there is one final round against an ideal opponent. And of course, Kiefer spawns at that exact precise second, looking like he was pulled straight from behind a dramatic drama curtain. Kiefer barks at Andrew and snatches JJ to evacuate her. She stops his red flags, interrogating him on why he even came and why he is so pressed. He, serving pure romantic hero face, tells her he always stresses when she isn't near his coordinates and that they must bounce immediately. Tiger's background men attempt to block their path, but Kiefer demolishes them all with total ease like they are literal dominoes. He sprints with JJ hand in hand, and she clocks that the guard at the door is smiling at them like he's watching a live-action rom-com. Meanwhile, Yuri is left completely alone, watching them walk away and feeling like JJ is slipping from his second lead energy forever. The next day, everyone assembles for the university tour. JJ is visibly pressed because she had to forge Angelo's signature on the form since he strictly didn't want her going. Once there, she spots Cian fighting with his tie like it's a literal octopus, so she intervenes to help his cringe outfit eat. The rest of the guys seize the second and beg her for assistance too, and she, serving classic good-hearted main character energy, agrees to help. Yuri watches her and attempts to tie his own knot, but absolutely ruins it, generating pure cringe. Suddenly, JJ clocks a literal hickey on a classmate's neck. Right before she leaks the tea, he covers up and begs her to gatekeep the secret. When she reaches Yuri, she comforts him because at least his Delulu self tried, but she still fixes his tie for the plot. JJ is living her absolute happiest slow burn fantasy, while Kiefer, activating toxic jealousy, deliberately ruins his own tie even though it was already perfect. When the bus spawns, everyone sprints to get on except Kiefer. He orders her to fix his tie too, but she claps back. "What are you, a literal baby?" She reminds him that she watched his red flags tie it perfectly earlier. He keeps provoking her until her main character energy is about to drop an unhinged curse word, but she restrains herself and ends up helping him anyway. Suddenly, she decides to project her frustration and pulls the knot so tight it looks like a literal corporate punishment. She slaps his ID badge on and bounces, while he tracks behind her wearing a satisfied smirk. Arriving at the university campus, JJ clocks a professor who shares the exact same surname as her family. She feels like she knows his lore, but her brain blocks out where she's witnessed his face before. This leaves her deeply unsettled, and the guys start stressing over her vibe. Yuri interrogates her, asking if Percy dropped another cryptic text to trigger this mood, but she denies the narrative. Meanwhile, Sin ditches her coordinates to sit right next to Raki. Felix approaches JJ and shares that he secured a sports scholarship at this exact university. He drops a genuine thank you, claiming it was strictly due to her plot armor. She celebrates with him, wraps him in an embrace, and even forces him to sit by her side. That is until Kiefer spawns and shoves him away to sit next to her himself. As always, JJ is left completely sandwiched in the middle of Yuri and Kiefer, surrounded by unhinged drama, toxic jealousy, and poorly executed ties. After the lecture, when everyone preps to evacuate, JJ spots that mysterious professor yet again. This time, she is absolutely positive she knows him. She reboots her phone, starts auditing old family photos, and boom! She uncovers the ultimate backstory truth. He is her literal father. She sprints toward him and he recognizes her instantly, wrapping her in an embrace and claiming he's anticipated this second for a monumental amount of time. He begs for forgiveness for his past actions, hinting there's a deeper slow burn history that remains gatekept. But right then Aries spawns like a neighborhood cop and rips her straight out of her father's arms. He tells the man he will summon the literal police if he breaches her coordinates again, revealing there was a prior corporate agreement between her dad and Angelo to stay completely away from her map. JJ is entirely lost and just wants to return to her dad, but Aries grips her with firm authority. Kiefer gets completely furious, shoves Aries to protect his girl, and the rest of the squad groups around JJ to comfort her like an improvised bodyguard entourage. When she returns home, JJ screams at Angelo and demands to know why they gate-kept her father away from her life. He tells her to wait until tomorrow because her mom is spawning to explain the entire lore. She explodes, screaming for him to strictly forbid her mom from coming because she cannot stand her red flags, and runs upstairs like a dramatic telenovela lead. The next day, she heads straight to Kiefer's house because she desperately needs to dump her emotional trauma and located absolutely nobody else on the map. Her jaw drops over how ridiculously luxurious the mansion is, and she interrogates him about who owns it. Kiefer, flexing his cold CEO pride, states it's literally his property, not rented. Then, serving his usual toxic teasing, he drops a warning for her not to catch feelings for the house because it belongs strictly to his future wife. And he loathes when background characters touch his stuff. JJ asks about his family lore, and he uncovers the tragic backstory that his mom passed away and his dad immediately married another woman for the plot. Kiefer strictly refused to tolerate that narrative and evicted them both from the mansion. Normally the script goes the other way around, but Kiefer's red flags are built different and he runs his own territory. Afterward, he asks what dragged her main character energy to his coordinates, and noticing her avoiding the question, he proposes an unhinged game of truth or dare. They kick off a round of interrogation where whoever refuses to drop the lore receives a cringe drawing on their face. The game starts with Kiefer asking JJ about her mom. She confesses she absolutely cannot stand her red flags and strictly refuses to ever return to her. When it's JJ's turn, she asks if he could ever pull off a slow burn reconciliation with Aries. Kiefer stays dead silent, so she seizes the second to paint a mustache on his face, exact same routine as before. She then interrogates him about the history behind his earring. Kiefer explains it belonged to his late mother. After Percy vanished from the script, he felt completely lost, entered his mom's room, located the earring, and put it on. It makes him feel like her spirit is still gatekeeping his life, serving pure comfort. When it's Kiefer's turn again, he asks JJ about her dad. She admits she secured zero quality time with him, which triggers Kiefer to drop an iconic warning for her to be careful. He explains some men look sweet and nice on the outside but are pure villain energy on the inside, just like his own father. He insists that literally all men are cold-hearted, and JJ jokes, "Are you not one of them?" Questions continue until both have their faces covered in absolute doodles. JJ then asks about his first love, and her mouth hits the floor upon hearing it was Freya. Kiefer explains she used to serve pure kind energy before changing her character arc. JJ presses him to reveal where the second earring is gate-kept, and he admits he handed it over to someone. She guesses instantly that the recipient ate and was Ella. Then, Kiefer asks JJ what she honestly thinks of Yuri. She describes him as sweet and kind, claiming his golden retriever presence makes her feel special. When he interrogates her about what she thinks of him personally, she claps back. "Do you really want me to curse you out, huh?" Kiefer, utterly enchanted by her main character energy, laughs and leans physically close to deliver the punishment he had promised. JJ looks like she's about to drop an iconic slap on his face, but ultimately her plot armor restrains her. The next day, she is still completely lost in her thoughts over that slow burn intimate moment, until Kiefer's brother spawns into the scene, brutally beating a classmate for drawing too close to his girlfriend's coordinates. JJ begs the squad to stop him, but absolutely nobody moves until Yuri arrives and drops a punch on the kid. Kiefer, strictly unable to let Yuri win the script, launches a punch straight at Yuri and knocks him down. JJ sprints to help Yuri and screams at Kiefer that both he and his brother are serving pure unhinged wrong energy. Kiefer gets completely triggered and yells back that she is always strictly on Yuri's side. An abrupt plot twist just went down like a classic romantic drama, switching from yesterday's slow burn tenderness straight to unhinged screaming and flying fists. Later, while everyone sits down to eat, Yuri drops a thank you to JJ for activating her inner bodyguard and defending him. Cian tries to calm the toxic tension, reassuring everyone that Kiefer is actually a nice guy underneath his red flags who probably feels massive guilt and will drop an apology. And faithful to his cold CEO style, Kiefer spawns into the scene and tells the restaurant owner he is paying for everyone's food. He then approaches Yuri and offers a sincere apology, and to JJ's absolute surprise, Yuri forgives him instantly. She stays visibly pressed until Kiefer mentions he possesses the corporate contacts to help locate her father at maximum speed. In that case, her main character energy decides to forgive him, realizing she can never stay angry at his handsome face for too long. That night, JJ's family assembles in a state of pure unhinged stress because they are sitting on the absolute edge of bankruptcy. Her aunt is literally crying when JJ enters the room, but they try to gatekeep the truth, claiming everything is perfectly fine before banishing her to her bedroom. Angelo drops the suggestion that the sole way to rescue their finances is to partner up with the enterprise owned by Yuri's grandfather. This instantly triggers the suspicion that they might sacrifice JJ's freedom by scripting an arranged marriage with Yuri to secure the business deal. The next day at school, Yuri invites JJ out on a date to offer a proper thank you for her assistance. She accepts the narrative, but during the date, she is totally distracted, serving zero attention to him. Yuri gets visibly pressed, interrogating her about whether she doesn't trust his second lead energy enough to spill the lore. She attempts to smooth over the cringe situation, telling him she strictly refuses to burden him with her family trauma. She playfully grabs his face, clocks how red he is from pure frustration, and teases him by saying he looks like a literal tomato to match his natural hair. Yuri freezes on the spot, his heart racing at maximum speed. But the slow burn moment gets brutally interrupted when Kiefer suddenly spawns into the coordinates. He pulls her away, declaring he has major news regarding her father. Yuri strictly refuses to let her go, snatching her other hand. Trapped dead in the middle, JJ agrees to bounce with Kiefer to extract the lore about her dad, and Yuri tells her he will wait for her at those exact coordinates. When they arrive at the university campus, JJ approaches a professor to interrogate her about her father, but the woman strictly refuses to drop any info due to confidentiality rules. Furthermore, she informs her that he is currently traveling and there is absolutely zero way to reach him now. JJ bursts into tears, feeling like the scriptwriter is personally against her. Kiefer wraps her in a tight embrace, drops an iconic kiss on her forehead, and calms her down by swearing he will always be by her side. After checking her emotions, she returns to the cafe and uncovers that everyone already ghosted the place except Yuri, who is still patiently waiting for her. He hands her a flower and presents an iconic ring, also red like his lava hair color. Confessing he strictly can no longer gatekeep his feelings, he makes it crystal clear that everything is on the table and the narrative choice is now hers to make. Before bouncing like a high-budget telenovela lead, JJ is left entirely alone, contemplating the monumental mess with zero clues what to do. She returns home with the ring, still completely torn between accepting his Delulu proposal or rejecting it. Her aunt enters, spots the ring, and instantly demands the tea on who gave it to her. JJ explains the unhinged situation, and her aunt comments that this boy must truly love her and want to script a marriage. They even test the ring for the plot and notice it fits her finger with absolute perfection. She advises her to think carefully and strictly avoid rushing the script. A bit later, her aunt delivers the phone so she can call her mom. Her mother uncovers the lore that she is getting married again and demands JJ attend the wedding ceremony. JJ gets completely furious, screaming because her mom served zero actual care for her and additionally gatekept the fact that her father was actively searching for her coordinates. She hangs up the phone, strictly refusing to continue the conversation. The next day, JJ asks the maid if she already cleaned her bedroom, mentioning that something is missing from the plot. By absolute bad luck, Aries is standing right there holding the ring box. He demands to know who gave it to her, and when she replies it was Yuri, he gets completely unhinged furious. He tells her that her father already returned from his trip, and that he possesses his address and phone number. He proposes a toxic deal. If she wants the information, she strictly has to reject Yuri, stay far away from her Section E friends, and transfer to a completely different section. The next day at school, JJ finds the guys prepping the New Year's party. Although the administration organizes the official event at a hotel, they are scripted as the weirdos and secured zero invitations. Since they refuse to lose, they decide to celebrate in the classroom and decorate it themselves. JJ feels a bit sad seeing Ella's name still on a locker, so Kiefer takes a sticker and covers it to cheer her up with his own red flags energy. Then she helps a short friend who can't reach the top of the tree. Yuri then mocks JJ for her height before lifting the decoration and hanging it himself, leaving her completely frozen and blushing. One of his friends finally shoves Yuri away, and JJ looks around at her classmates, realizing they genuinely serve pure family energy. Deeply moved, her main character energy starts crying. Kiefer clocks this and asks what's wrong, but she claims something just entered her eye. He claps back that she's lying and calms her down, reassuring her that if she fears anything, she shouldn't stress because he will always be there for his girl like a personal bodyguard. Then comes the music and dance competition. Cien and Felix take the stage and demand JJ join the scene. During a lunch break, Felix comments that Yuri is sitting alone serving pure sad energy. She goes over to cheer up his second lead soul, even inviting him to eat with her. Although he rejects the food, he is visibly happy when she mentions that she liked the iconic ring. They sit and joke together until Kiefer spawns and sees them. His smirk vanishes instantly, completely eaten alive by toxic jealousy. Suddenly, massive cringe drama explodes over a giant chicken that completely vanished from the map. The boys are bewildered. Absolutely nobody witnessed it disappear. Everyone starts blaming each other until JJ decides to audit everyone's plates. Seeing that nobody has it, she interrogates them about where CN is hiding. They uncover him camped out under the table, shamelessly devouring the chicken. He laughs and drops a weak apology, claiming he strictly couldn't resist the delicious meat. JJ tells him not to stress and to eat in peace because his character arc is still growing. Just then, Iman brings an even bigger chicken, and everyone sits down to eat together, as if zero unhinged drama had even happened. Later, David hands JJ a gift, a necklace with her initial. She enthusiastically thanks him for the plot armor, but he immediately drops a truth bomb. "I didn't buy it, I located it lying around outside and it had your name." Talk about expert-level recycled cringe. Later we uncover the real backstory lore. It was actually Percy who secured the necklace and ordered David to deliver it, though his motive remains strictly gatekept. After that, they blast some music and everyone starts dancing. Cian drags JJ's main character energy straight onto the floor and the guys even teach her some steps. She begs Kiefer to dance with her, but his cold CEO red flags activate and he strictly refuses, preferring to sit there looking like a reality show judge. Then Yuri stands up to perform a romantic slow burn track, his eyes locked onto JJ the entire time. Kiefer gets visibly eaten alive by toxic jealousy in front of everyone, and JJ clocks the unhinged tension, giving Kiefer the side eye, which in turn triggers Yuri. Sensing that he's singing his heart out for his girl while she leaves him on read, Yuri gets completely offended and refuses to finish the song. The next round of competition kicks off. The hosts demand the audience locate specific random items, and the first to deliver wins a prize. First object is chocolate. Calix, serving zero shame, grabs Michaela and declares, "Here is my chocolate." Peak cheesy cringe narrative, but their plot armor wins the round. Cian and JJ decide to let it slide. Next, they demand candy. Kiefer literally lifts JJ and sprints to the front, screaming, "Here she is sweet and sugary." JJ turns bright red from pure secondhand embarrassment. And to top off the unhinged scene, the iconic prize they hand her is a literal pack of instant ramen noodles. She screams at this low-budget cheap prize, but sweet golden retriever Yuri calms her down and makes her sit by his coordinates. Afterward, the host commands everyone to bring the thing they love the absolute most. Yuri lifts JJ and sprints with her again, while Calix carries Michaela. The organizers are completely bewildered by the script, wondering if JJ is the only human being on the map everyone wants to carry. Suddenly, in an awkward, dead silent second, Yuri confesses his love for her right in front of everyone. JJ hits peak Delulu shyness and runs to camp out next to CN like he's her official hiding bunker. Then comes the gift exchange, but the presents are serving such sad energy they look like they were looted from a secondhand kitchen script. A set of hangers, a soup ladle, and a miniature grater. The absolute best gift goes to Michaela because Calix hands her a lipstick, applies it to her, and orders her to leave a mark on his cheek. The second best gift goes to Kiefer, a pair of shorts JJ purchased for his red flags. Everyone laughs because they are identical to the ones he already possesses. Unfortunately, JJ's own gift is pure trash. She thinks Kiefer delivered it, but turns out it was CN, that absolute loser. Her main character energy hunts him down and beats him up with pure fury. When she returns, she views the group assembled and realizes they genuinely deliver pure family energy. She gets overwhelmed and starts crying. Kiefer clocks this and drops the line, "Let me guess, something in your eye again?" She responds that she's just happy, and he answers, "May God make you even happier," before inviting her to return to the unhinged celebration. Then the script drops a massive slow burn recap of JJ's entire unhinged journey in Section E, from her first day spawning at the school, her growing physical closeness with both Kiefer and Yuri, their shared low-budget adventures, and how her main character energy ultimately fell for Kiefer. But Yuri loves her too and literally confessed his feelings, leaving her completely Delulu and confused about who she actually wanted. She had drifted closer to Kiefer's red flags, but the bankruptcy lore forced her family to arrange a business deal with Yuri's family enterprise. Everything blew up when Yuri publicly confessed his love during the party, leaving the entire classroom speechless, especially Kiefer. JJ wakes up at home, still half dizzy dizzy and disoriented, looking like she spent the night at an open bar karaoke. She remembers last night's celebration, but almost the entire plot is a literal blur. The only clear piece of lore is that the party went down at her house. Some background guests bounced early, while others stayed downstairs drinking like they were competing for a Guinness World Record. Yuri was serving pure sad boy energy, but the rest of the squad was vibing, and JJ, more than anyone, was laughing and joking around for the plot. As the memories reboot, she turns bright red from cringe embarrassment. She knows some monumental event happened, but her brain is strictly blocking out the details. She remembers herself eating with Cien and Felix right before the rest of the entourage spawned with their drinks. Yuri was tracking her every move, looking distant and heartbroken, with zero clues on how to approach her coordinates. The night advanced, and although she initially refused to drink, the squad hyped her up until she ended up chugging a glass instead of Yuri. She absolutely hated the taste, but her main character energy craved his attention. Yuri felt even more attracted to his girl, while JJ got so dizzy she could barely walk straight. Finally, everyone evacuated to sleep. After that wild night, JJ headed to the kitchen for food, and Yuri suddenly spawned into the scene to talk about his public confession at the party. He told her she looked beautiful even when she was serving pure angry energy. He interrogated her, asking if she was ghosting him for a reason. JJ denied the entire narrative, thinking his brain was still dizzy, but Yuri insisted she was leaving him on read because she actually harbors feelings for him and strictly refuses to admit it. He declared his feelings are completely serious. He literally got down on one knee, snatched her hand, and asked her to marry him. Controlling his emotions with pure difficulty, he looked completely desperate for her love. JJ hit peak shock and instinctively pulled away, but he grabbed her hand again and dropped the iconic line, "For real this time, would you marry me?" JJ was left entirely paralyzed, never predicting the script would escalate into a literal marriage proposal. Yuri was strictly no longer viewing her as a friend. He wanted her to be his actual wife. She assumed he was just drunk, but he swore his plot armor was sober and he was dead serious. He wants to stay at her coordinates forever. JJ told him she was way too overwhelmed and could strictly not deliver an answer right now, pointing out they are way too young to talk about marriage scripts. Yuri bounced with his heart broken like a shattered glass. JJ is left in pure shock remembering this, reviewing the scene in her mind and recalling how she witnessed Yuri and Kiefer having a tense conversation last night, wondering how that toxic conflict ties into the marriage proposal. Later, she heads downstairs and finds her grandmother visiting, receiving a warm welcome from the family. Out of nowhere, Sin unexpectedly spawns into the scene. JJ is shocked but genuinely glad to see him, as he seems to be in a great mood. When her aunt suggests they are in a relationship, Cien denies the narrative, but JJ quickly shuts him down, especially since everyone, including Angelo, is analyzing them with a literal magnifying glass. Angelo is not happy. He believes JJ should strictly focus on school instead of dating scripts. He loves her way too much and tries to pull her away. Meanwhile, Cien approaches JJ's grandmother, who immediately adores his golden retriever energy. Angelo later confesses he feels massive guilt for being so harsh on JJ, but remains utterly determined to uncover who gave her the ring she is wearing. JJ, however, wants absolutely nobody meddling in her personal affairs. Despite the unhinged personal drama, the family meeting moves forward to avoid bankruptcy. JJ prepares a special juice for her grandmother like an improvised chef. The New Year preparations arrive, and everyone gathers as if they were the literal cast of a cringe family comedy. The grandmother starts distributing gifts and JJ joins in, noticing Cien, who looks happy to be included in the plot. JJ receives a text from a friend thanking her for staying by his side and wishing her a Merry Christmas. Cien, as always, hypes everyone up with his chaotic energy, and Calix also sends greetings, making JJ feel truly happy to be surrounded by so much human warmth. Then comes Yuri's text, a simple Merry Christmas. No jokes, no slow burn fluff, zero emojis. JJ gets hit with disappointment because her main character energy expected something way more romantic, but she smiles anyway. Meanwhile, Kiefer eats dinner in dead silence with his family, reflecting on his feelings like a cold, brooding CEO protagonist in a melancholic drama. When it's time to open gifts, everyone celebrates with pure joy while opening their presents. But when JJ unboxes hers, she uncovers an impressive and shocking white dress. She has zero clues what to think, and the others start stressing because she is way too young for such an adult gift narrative. A week passes without JJ showing her face. Her aunt and grandmother plan to visit her coordinates, but she finally spawns wearing the tight dress, looking visibly uncomfortable. Angelo perceives that something is seriously wrong and gets way more nervous than usual, though JJ has zero understanding as to why. On New Year's Eve, Yuri predicts she will attend the celebration at Vendi, which is exactly what happens. Party kicks off and everyone meets Yuri's family lore. JJ gets introduced and tries to enjoy the script. She sits down and spots Kiefer nearby. Her face lights up until she witnesses him talking to another girl. instantly igniting the toxic fire of jealousy in her soul. She goes to secure a drink right when a singer performs a track that touches her heart, reminding her of the iconic moment Kiefer sang it to her. She realizes Kiefer understands her main character energy like nobody else. She takes her drink in one violent gulp and goes outside for fresh air, completely overwhelmed by the cringe tension. Upon returning, Yuri approaches her and demands she dance with him. JJ is left in pure shock. He just returned from Japan and now he's asking for a dance like a textbook telenovela lead. Their dance is elegant, but the entire atmosphere is heavily serving unhinged tension. Everyone is tracking their every move, while Kiefer remains on the sidelines, serving pure heartbreak energy with his soul completely shattered. As JJ and Yuri continue their elegant dance, it's a total mix of unhinged joy and slow burn sadness. Kiefer observes from the corner, fully aware that he is losing his girl yet again. Kiefer chugs his drink to drown his internal torment, while JJ tries to flash some main character energy and fake that everything is perfectly fine. The second the dance concludes, they welcome the new year and transition straight into celebrating Yuri's birthday. JJ takes the stage and performs a birthday track for him, leaving Kiefer absolutely devastated. Shortly after, the shocking truth lore drops. Both families are scripting a formal corporate alliance, and JJ and Yuri are now officially public as a couple, meaning they are strictly engaged for an arranged marriage. The celebration continues, but JJ feels completely betrayed and blindsided by the people she trusted. Kiefer hits peak shock, and Yuri's plot armor fails to explain the sudden unhinged announcement. Finally, JJ is dragged to a doctor because her family is losing their minds. They genuinely believe Yuri took toxic advantage of her vulnerability. Both Kiefer and JJ are deeply wounded, while Yuri, despite the absolute cringe chaos, is secretly happy to finally secure the girl he has loved for a monumental amount of time. JJ attempts to maintain appearances, but she quickly sees straight through the facade. She uncovers that her family and friends, and yes, even Kiefer's red flags, gate-kept the info about the arranged marriage this entire time. Feeling entirely abandoned, she evacuates the party crying, wondering if this nightmare is her actual reality. She strictly cannot comprehend how they can script a whole marriage without her actual consent. Angelo locates her sobbing and admits he wanted to explain the lore, but his brain could never locate the right second. He serves pure regret, but claims there was absolutely zero alternative option. The family's survival depended on this corporate alliance. JJ is left in absolute shock that Angelo, of all people, made such a monumental decision for her life. She argues that even though she's made cringe mistakes, she is still way too young to be forced into a marriage script. She wants to study, work, and actually live her life. Angelo insists the wedding won't be immediate and they will just get to know each other as a couple. But the iconic ring on her finger feels like a literal trap. Her aunt actually delivers some empathy, telling her she didn't agree with this evil plan either, but the rest of the family thinks it's the only way to rescue the enterprise from bankruptcy. Kiefer, upon uncovering the full backstory, realizes he strictly cannot let her go again, but staying on her coordinates might completely destroy his relationship with Yuri. First, he decides to deploy a mature step back, but the exact second their iconic song blasts, his resolution shatters. He confesses he always feared becoming cold and unhinged like his father, but he never predicted he would love with the exact same reckless intensity as his mother. He realizes he can't distance himself from her map. Completely determined, he directly confronts JJ, dragging her main character energy straight into an elevator. She tries to break away from his red flags, but he interrogates her bluntly. "Do you love Yuri?" Faced with her overwhelming silence, Kiefer delivers the ultimate choice. Answer the script or kiss him. She delivers 0 words, only tears. In that painful, dead silent second, Kiefer kisses her. She pulls away, absolutely furious and confused, unable to comprehend how his red flags can act so natural. But he kisses her again, serving pure slow burn love. Neither can restrain their tears until the elevator doors slide open and background strangers spawn inside, brutally destroying the moment. They step apart, faking absolute distance, even though the unhinged tension between them is literally burning. JJ overanalyzes her family lore and how her choices might affect the people she loves. Kiefer is utterly terrified by his own thoughts. JJ bounces, leaving Kiefer crying in dead silence. Yuri spawns shortly after and kindly invites her to the rooftop. She accepts like a toddler forced to eat broccoli. Upon arrival, she is stunned by the gorgeous scenery. Her aunt hypes her up to flash a smile and enjoy the plot. They introduce her to Yuri's entire family entourage as his literal fiancé. Everyone laughs and cheers with their glasses. JJ, looking completely uncomfortable, excuses herself to the restroom, but Kiefer intercepts her coordinates yet again. He confesses he will strictly no longer attempt to control her, but he fears she will marry another man when her heart clearly belongs to his map. He knows she refuses to marry Yuri because she is deeply in love with him. "I love you and I'm strictly done gatekeeping it," he declares. The fireworks show kicks off, and Kiefer drops one final iconic confession he had stored for way too long. JJ stares straight into his eyes and suddenly delivers an unhinged kiss right under the illuminated sky. Kiefer corresponds with pure intensity, and their love literally ate, shining brighter than the fireworks. They embrace as if they were the last humans on the planet, but their family's corporate drama remains fully present. Yuri's mom clocks her son, completely destroyed and alone, waiting for a girl who will likely never return to his coordinates. JJ remains locked in Kiefer's arms, and this time they cry together out of pure happiness. Serving zero need for further explanations, JJ finally uncovers exactly where her main character energy belongs. Kiefer strictly refuses to hold back, and they stay together the entire night, while Yuri waits with an anxious soul, looking like the literal protagonist of a tragic ballad music video. And that is exactly how Season 1 concludes. The first part of the narrative finishes with an iconic kiss under the fireworks, where JJ and Kiefer discovered their love burned stronger than any toxic family alliance. However, Yuri's Delulu doubts and the heavy shadows of an arranged marriage make it crystal clear that the real battlefield has barely initialized. JJ's heart successfully chose its lead, but the scriptwriter has strictly not decided the final destiny. Drop a like if JJ choosing Kiefer's massive red flags over Yuri's pure golden retriever energy was a total mood. And comment below if you think this arranged marriage drama is about to get completely unhinged in Season 2. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you strictly never miss the next piece of toxic drama lore. See you in the next recap!